I know.
All right, Cullahcast 14. We got Amanda Huff and William, also known as
Oh shit! I have to
This
wait.
Random Machine.
This hand's cut out.
Yeah, this hand.
Yeah.
This hand. This hand.
Yeah, this is an interesting setup. We got two webcams, 720p, and they have different lenses, and I always forget which one. Like you can see, mine is so much wider than yours for some reason, but I decided to put it on me. But I swapped, and it was already set up, so I was like, well, this is what it is.
No, it's okay.
It works.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
It works. So thanks for coming on, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been big fans of you guys' work since I discovered it.
Oh.
Sweet.
So really happy for you to guys be here. I have plenty of questions, but part of the reason why you're here is because you guys just made a freaking sick tune
We did.
that I heard.
I think we did.
I heard it a
I
bunch
think
of
it's pretty
times.
sick.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
I heard
Yeah.
it a bunch of times. It's great.
Thank you.
Is there a mixed? Is there like? Is it a divisive song?
Like, do you mean, do we get in fights or like a?
Like it's not.
We got next to 0 fights. I think everything was pretty flowed really well. Like
I wasn't sure where the division started and ended. That's all.
I
I
think
think
that
it's a constant state.
Sure.
It's just like dynamic.
Yeah.
I think it had a lot to do with the lyrics and the mental like processing of what was happening with the lyrics, and then I tried to like make that the sounds that were happening to correlate with those lyrics.
Sure.
Yeah. The whole thing is, I mean, it's like very much on the nose in a lot of ways with the division and the imagery and like how stark those.
Yeah. The contrast of the song is pretty clear.
Yeah.
From the beginning to the
Yeah.
first part to the second part. Or
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's more than two parts, but
There is an A and B pretty much.
Yeah.
In my
Yeah.
like broad like the overall look of
so
it.
definitely
is-
come a little closer.
Sorry.
You can move it too.
The overall
He's just gonna be dragging his
yeah,
hands
hello.
all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, just say that so you can hear it. Say your silky smooth voice.
Oh yeah.
Oh, gross. I mean, sorry.
That's true.
You
Yeah.
can pull it up. You're a tall dude, or you can put whatever is comfortable.
I think
But-
this is good.
okay. Great.
I see it as two parts. Basically, the arrangement of the tune repeats itself twice, with different sounds, and it starts off very electronic and very robotic and it caters to those lyrics of feeling like lost emotionally, which I'm sure Amanda can go in depth with. And I wanted to portray that where like there were so many times I had busier parts and I just got rid of them because I'm like, this doesn't feel right. And then it translated to the next part, B, which is with more organic instruments. I got Peter Thomas. I got his friend Michael to come play trumpet. So I had a cello trumpet. My buddy Mark played drums on it, and it became more organic. And like you're finally coming out of that shell of feeling emotionless, like just no thoughts or feelings.
Sure.
I don't know what's what, like, which we've all been there before.
Yeah. So so your role then as producer, right? An arranger or
Yeah,
What was your
co-writer too.
Co-writer too? Yeah, I was
like
wondering
it started last November. You sent me a random
Yeah.
voice memo that got somehow a bit corrupted. Like
wow.
she was toying around with the piano and had this idea in A minor, and it was like a digitalized
like A
piano.
minor.
What's that?
I like A
A minor's great.
Suits you well.
Are you a
And
minor?
she sent me this voice memo.
I like a minor.
Ew.
Sorry.
Wait, is there something I should know?
No, just keep going.
Anyways, yeah, she sent like one random night. She sent me this. Like, I have this new idea I'm futzing about with the piano, and it was like a digitalized piano, but I could tell that like it had been something had been messed up, like in the transferring the data over to me.
I just took a recording like with my phone to the computer.
Right. And it created, not only did it sound like it was out of time, like an odd metered measure.
So you recorded it with your phone and then recorded it again on a computer?
Yeah, I wrote like a skeleton of it. I wrote the A section basically on my computer with my like shitty little setup. And then I wanted William to take that and do his magic and expand it into a song. So I recorded it with my phone to send it to him instead of like I don't know, exporting
Oh,
a file.
see,
or
okay, I
something.
see what you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just skipped a step. I was really just anxious.
And it got corrupted somehow, and it created that that it happens twice in the song.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
She didn't write that. I didn't write that.
Yeah, my phone wrote
the
that.
digital world and transferring it over created that, I gravitated towards that right away. Like, what is that? Where did that come from? What is she doing? Like, that sounds really cool.
I
Amanda,
didn't
you're a
listen to the
genius.
voice memo
Yeah.
either. I just sent it over and was like, wait, what the
So
fuck?
I took that voice memo, I imported it into Pro Tools, and then I started to get to work, and I started moving stuff around, and I created a verse that was 16/8, 13/8, 16/8, 15/8 time signature. So I was like, we're getting Tool-ish or Soundgarden, like weird, but more orchestral and beautiful and whatnot. And then I got this arrangement together and invited her to the studio, and she's like, what is going on here? Like, this is amazing, but like, this isn't, what is that glitch sound? I'm like, wait, you sent that to me. And she's like, no, I didn't. I'm like, what? This is the voice memo. And I played her the original one, and she's like, I don't know what happened, but that's cool. Yes, this is great. I'm like, cool.
Was it Apple?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I just got a new iPhone. I can't say that. They're going to come after my phone now.
They're gonna come for it.
yeah, so it was
It's
like
speaking for itself now.
it was kind of a happy accident that
Yeah.
like because literally what she's singing about and writing about is like weird pockets of not understanding what's happening in your life where you're emotionally just distraught or just feeling a little bit numb and like not in 4/4 time. You're a little disjointed, and that's exactly what that transfer did, was disjointed that idea, which isn't crazy to me. And I'm like, ran with it, and it worked. And then she's like, oh, chorus, I have a chorus idea. I'm like, what is it? And she's like, just the okay part where it's just like a breath of fresh air. I'm like, yeah, 6/8. So instead of like, musically speaking, instead of having this jolty weird time signature, it becomes, obviously there's that little segue part where I programmed a bunch of reverse piano and then kick drums going back and forth and whatnot. And but then it moves to this like breath of fresh air, which is in 6/8, which is part of normal. Yeah, 4/4, 6/8 are common in music, and so people are like, oh, and then it resets.
Some clarity, yeah.
Yeah, there's some clarity there. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, that was great.
Yeah.
This technical guy over here, like I said, I just send him shit and he works.
I don't think I could count 16 or 15.
Oh, you should have seen him when he was first trying to count these things
Oh
off.
yeah, like
was
her and I sat there for hours. Like, wait, we thought we had it, and they're like, wait a second, no, it's actually an extra beat, because I was like I was doing a lot of editing and like chopping stuff up and conforming
we
it to.
recounted it so many
times, and then I got MSO Peter Thomas in there, and he was having trouble like even like getting the second verse in there when he's doing those pizzicato parts.
Sure.
Like he's like, William, like I have video of it where like we're laughing about it, but like we're like, don't worry, dude. And he's getting frustrated. I'm like, it's all good, dude. Like I still don't even know what it is. Like I don't know how this happened, but like just take your time. And we spent a day getting it right. Having his part. Yeah, his cello parts alone. Like I recorded 50 tracks of him because he's a master, because he does your part and then instantly is like, oh, we could do this and do that. I'm like,
that's great.
Yeah.
I don't want to turn him off. I'm like, dude, go nuts, do your thing.
Absolutely.
I got more tracks, but
you can just see like everything firing off. It's great.
And I mic'd him with 2 different mics, so yeah, we hit 50 tracks pretty fast. Between the pizzicato, all those weird, like the second interlude before the second chorus, where it's all like backward stuff, and then he's doing the cello, like, the string, what do you call that? Basically legato, like going up and down the neck.
Yeah.
And like, just keep going. And then I spent like easily 20 hours editing that, going through all that, if not more, just like picking out, all right, that's the one. That's the one that makes me feel, and it suits. But it was a blessing and somewhat of an editing curse, where like having Peter was like,
right,
all right, I have to commit to, I'm gonna have to edit all this. But it was definitely worth it. Like
absolutely
100%. Yeah. And then I was telling him how I kind of wanted horns in the last chorus, and he's like, I got this buddy Michael that could definitely come in and do that.
Those were clutch.
Yeah. And we worked together. He was a hired gun, and I'm like, we got all that done in an hour and a half, and I literally just like hummed it to him, or I used my bass synth, my Novation bass synth. I'm like, I'm hearing this, and then he just like, oh, cool, and he go in the ISO booth, and then one take. I'm like, that's amazing. You're amazing. Like, yeah, working with him was great, and then getting those like organic trip hop drums, Mark Stewart, who I previously played with in Gold for the past 3 years. He likes that kind of stuff too. I'm like, dude, I think you'd be perfect for this. Would you want to come in and mess around with some live drum stuff? I have electronic in the first half, but I want to get more organic. And he's like, yeah, I'd love to do it. And same thing, it took him a while for those verse, like the 16/8, the 13/8, the 16/8, 15/8, or like, but he's the type of like music nerd where it's like, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this. Like this, I'm like, cool, dude. Do you need anything?
Drummers
Water's
especially.
like, yeah, he's really good with rhythm, and it didn't take him that long at all coming into it pretty blind, where I'm just like, you want to come hang out at the studio one day? And I think he did a fantastic job too. And we mic'd his drums in the ISO booth, so there was literally just dead.
Oh.
Yeah. It turned out really great because then it allowed me to manipulate the right reverb I needed post. Yeah, instead of being in my live room.
Right.
Yeah. So basically the verses were very dry, and I put like a filter on it to create that like.
Yeah.
You know.
What was that again?
Anyways. And then I kind of try to emulate like a marching snare at the end, like kind of like Pink Floyd's The Wall, like having that huge open space. I thought went well with the trumpets and the cellos, and we kept that bass synth in there, that kind of video gamey sound that we both like.
Yeah, I love that sound. I'm such a sucker for it.
Yeah.
It's like a what?
Just like anything that's very close to like a video game sound.
Sure.
Or
It's like a heavy square wave on that bass station that I have.
Square waves are great.
Yeah.
Sorry. This is so funny. I love when he gets technical like this. I mean, that's why I love bringing my songs to William too, because I mean, when I first sent him that, I had a direction that I wanted to go, and it was very vague, broad sweeping, but it was also very specific in that I knew the feeling that I needed to come out of these things, and that had a lot of intricacies, and he was very careful and thoughtful to make sure that it was doing the right things along the way to uphold the narrative of it, and push and pull where it had to. I don't know. It's always like that. I think I can bring my heavy stuff to him because I know that he'll treat it properly.
That's a good relationship.
Feels like heard. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think, we've worked together. Had 2 releases so far, and obviously we were talking about doing more, and like more in the next year. Like really focus. Yeah.
EP, LP?
I would like an LP.
Full discography.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, because, like, I'll put it this way. I had a week off of work that was paid for. Like, I had to use it or lose it, and I had all these grand plans to just record all these demos, and I ended up just mostly playing and not recording. Like, getting back into, holy cow, this is a piano. My piano at the studio is finally in tune. My buddy Nathan tuned it, and it's like, I can just show up and play now. Like, I started relearning old Pink Floyd tunes that I like, Great Gig in the Sky, or just old riffs that I had. And like 4 hours later, I'm like, holy crap. Like, I forgot how much I love this. Like, I just...
nice in-tune piano.
Yeah, it goes a long way. Yeah. And then there were like last Wednesday, I spent the night at my studio and just rediscovered old pedals I haven't used in a while, and took my bass station further down the road of now, like, understanding it and what it's capable of. So I recorded like 10 hours of just riffs and ideas. So now, like, instead of like going into this, I thought I was going to come out with like 5 demos, like, that are solid, that are ready to like take it to the next level. And it just more or less was like ideas, which is reflecting totally fine, but at first I was like,
Sometimes that's better though. It's just fresher.
yeah. And I've talked to other musician friends of mine about my week. I'm like, yeah, I didn't invite anybody to the studio. It was just me, but I
That's
think
probably for the better though.
I think I needed it. Yeah.
You should trust your instincts.
Yeah.
You know? Like if you're there and that's what you're doing,
Right.
that's what's making you. That's what's
Right.
getting the juices flowing.
Like
then,
having the time to get my mechanics back to where they were, because I hadn't been playing a lot of piano lately because I have only a couple like micro synths and the Juno 2, and it's not the same as playing piano. So like I felt like I got back in touch with that, and then also like creativity with guitar and daisy chaining effects and like what they can do in the Digitech Time Bender is insanely cool. Like
Digitech Time Bender.
Yeah.
That's our next album.
yeah. That's it. No, but like it creates all these weird pitch shifting delays where I turn into like the band Battles. Like I was making sounds like that at one point. That video I sent you, I'm like, this isn't. I don't have it perfected yet, but like check this out. Like I'm literally just doing a couple modulation chords, and everything else is working by itself. But it's setting it up with the Pog too, and my Livewire reverb that has a lexicon chip in it that sounds just beautiful. I'm like, wow, I forgot that I have the capability of doing these kind of things. So it was kind of like a rediscovery this week. Yeah. And now I just need to make like commitment time to organize all that stuff. So it wasn't what I expected going in, but reflecting on it already before I go back to work this week is just like, hey, that was much needed, and it's okay that I didn't record 5 demos. Like, the time will come. It's fine. Yeah.
yeah, that's I think the more you try to like micromanage the creativity and try to micromanage and set certain expectations for yourself creatively, it can sometimes have the adverse effect. I feel like if you're doing it regularly and if things are, it's like any muscle.
Right.
It's like if you probably weren't ready to go in and do these demos. You obviously had all these things that you needed to remember or to work through, or like.
Yeah, you can't do leg day every single day in a row.
What's that? Yeah. No, it's true. Like, you're absolutely right. Like, I think all the times that I've tried to force that, it doesn't happen. And then when I get a random voice memo from her randomly one night, all of a sudden I'm like, I see the big picture already. And then tool it out.
Because you've already been shooting out all these different things, though. And sometimes it's just a matter of already having the arsenal and then connecting all the dots.
Right. Yeah.
Wrangling them in.
Yeah.
I think that's a much nicer way to go about it sometimes. At least when you're trying to break out of, like, a very intense work period.
Yeah. I don't like... It's funny because I, like, also reflect, like, I do have time during my normal week, too. I'm at the studio usually Thursday, Friday, Saturday. During the day, they're working on original stuff or mixing for here, or just playing in general. So it's not like I necessarily needed that everyday thing, but it's something that I've never had before the opportunity to do. So I guess I got very excited about it in my head, only to find out that your everyday life is what creates all that inspiration and desire to display yourself or express yourself artistically, and you need that, which is interesting. Yeah.
I'm really into the idea of cross-training just through life. I pursued that pretty heavily my senior year when I was in college, and I was working on my thesis, but I was always at my job, and so I couldn't get into the studio to work on my stuff. So last minute, I switched my thesis to be something that dealt with my job so that I could be in my studio technically while I was at my job, doing research and making. And I think that's something that you can carry into music too, is like, are you breathing thoughtfully through the way that you're moving about a space? Or, if you're cooking food, are you thinking about the sounds that are happening? And you can still keep tying that in so that everywhere is kind of the studio in itself.
Yeah, that reminds me of, John Cage would talk about that, about everything. The whole world is music, right? Like music isn't just typical melody, harmony.
Right.
all these counterpoint, all these things. It's every noise that you hear, the hustle and bustle,
Right. It's
the,
every
the
pressure,
fart of your neighbor.
sensation.
You know,
Yeah, is that going to be your next opening music?
Mm-hmm.
The fart of your neighbor.
I got
listen
it.
to your fart when it's calling for you.
God.
Listen to your fart.
No.
When it's
Okay, fucking
We're
Weird
get-
Al over
We're
here.
getting off topic. That's okay.
I'm sorry.
Bjork is a lot like that too. What?
No, sorry. My brain was still on Weird Al.
Oh.
Do you think Bjork and Weird Al ever? They must have done something,
man.
right?
Do you think they ever met?
They
Have
at
they
least
met?
to have met.
Should I
right?
Google like images of Weird Al?
They
and-
have to have met at once at least, right? If you're Bjork, you're not going to not meet Weird Al, and if you're
I
Weird
don't
Al,
know.
you're
She's very strange. Well, he is too.
He literally has weird in his name.
Yeah, that is true. That's very true.
He used to do this thing for Dr. Demento. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
I have I found a vinyl of it at a Goodwill when I was growing up, and he was like he would just mail in these things that he was working on when he was in high school. He'd mail into this radio show.
Al?
Dr. Demento. I think it was called Dr. Demento.
Oh, that's him.
No, it was some other DJ host, music host guy who was very
that he
underground. Yeah, so
mail into
Weird Al
Dr.
loved Dr. Demento, and then he liked his stuff, and that was like his first exposure to the world, or at least one of the big things that like propelled him forward was this guy was giving him a shot at, I mean, he loved his stuff, and
Yeah.
interesting.
Interesting.
So I don't know about Bjork though. I mean, you know more about. I've heard her stuff, and I've seen plenty of videos of it. But
She's in this one movie. I forget the name of it. She's in this
Dancer
one
in
movie.
the Dark.
Is that it? Where she literally starts hearing the sounds of this industrial scene that she works at. I think
Well,
it is.
she's blind.
I'm blind, right?
I haven't seen the movie.
And
but-
creates.
she's blind in movies.
I've seen it.
Or she's blind in.
No, she's blind in the movie.
In
She
the
plays
movie,
a character.
yeah.
That's
I saw it years and years ago, like in like '08, I think, when I was in college, when I first started getting into Bjork, and that like really opened me up to like, oh, I do this too, and I don't even like, it's like a subconscious. When I find myself making beats, I'm like, oh, it's because I just listened to this machine working, or like or somebody chatting with somebody else, and the rhythm patterns I'm picking up on, and I don't even know it.
Cars starting.
Yeah.
Just dialed into the cadence.
Birds.
Yeah. Yeah. So like it's a real thing for sure. And honestly, if you pay attention to that stuff, you can come up with some really cool rhythms that are already there.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, that I've heard someone say that is all of what we know about music. That's where the source is just
Just
from
the process.
natural
Sure, a
state,
lot of
natural
people,
things like people's melodies, are, or even pulse in general comes from the heartbeat, or comes from these natural states.
Yeah.
We're just expressing. That's why it's so powerful when we can come up with these things. Is because it's actually being in touch. We're actually kind of replicating and allowing people to get in touch with these more natural processes that are so subconscious that people don't know it. But when you make the music, it bridges that conscious state with these subconscious understandings of the universe.
Right. Instead of using a finger across blinds, like my girlfriend was doing this today. I don't even know if she knew she was doing it. I'm like, what is it? Like, I'm hearing hi-hat beats. I'm like, where you place that with a hi-hat, now it sounds like music to somebody. It's crazy how that works, where subconsciously you wouldn't think, like, people don't recognize that, but they are, like, internally. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, especially if you're a musician and that's what you're thinking about all the time, then you're going to hear it everywhere. It's like...
Do you get irritated when you're sitting in your car at a stoplight and you have your turn signal on, and so there's a person in front of you, and the click doesn't match up with the flashing of their lights?
I don't think I think about the other people's lights, but I definitely hear the click a lot.
But they go in like at one point they
get in
time
phase
with each other,
and
then
they lose phase. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't look at other people's turn signals that often.
How are you gonna know when they're turning?
I guess I don't know. I guess I think about.
Are you one of those that don't use your turn signal?
No, I definitely use my turn signal, but I hear my own turn signal.
Sure.
I don't know. I guess I do see it. No, I don't think like that, at least.
Oh well, you'll see it
I'm
now,
usually
so
trying to
I'm
like
sorry.
make sure I don't get run over or like get in a crash or something.
My favorite is
Cars are
the walk sign
scary.
on Brady
Oh, yeah.
and Farwell. The walk sign is on.
Yeah.
Walk sign
Yeah, dude.
is on.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Wait. Wait.
God.
When I was a kid, though, the turn signal definitely was
Yeah.
just as soon as it started going, I'd just be like,
Or when it's raining, hearing the turn signal against the rain on the windshield.
and the windshield wipers.
Yeah. Very soothing to me.
Yeah, there's so many natural rhythms everywhere, and I guess I don't know. I haven't gone deep into complex time. I've been messing around with like 7/8 and 9/8 and like stuff like that, but I've never
get nasty with it.
I've never been able to.
That's not too much far removed
no,
from what
it's
we
a
were
4
doing.
plus a 3. I mean,
Yeah.
or three, 3 3s. But like
You added all up, those four measures or four, measures are 60 beats, which
Right.
is as long as you.
it just changed. I tried to write to it then, and it was just my meter, the meter of the words and stuff changed everything. And I was like, oh my god, how am I gonna?
Yeah.
Now I have to practice different meter first, and then be able to. But that's part of it, right? It's exploring, like
Yeah.
and like you're saying about going in. Not everything you're gonna explore with is gonna turn into something, but
Right.
But it brings you to another space, and it'll bring you somewhere, and that'll bring you somewhere, and that'll bring you somewhere, and
Right.
and you're aware of the journey there, and subconsciously or consciously, and then sometimes those explorations they come up later. It's like, oh wait,
Or sometimes your
wait.
phone just glitches.
Right.
And it happens for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yep.
Wonderful serendipity.
Yeah. It's crazy how
sometimes glitches work, sometimes they're awful.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's awesome that you guys that has some supernatural origin.
Yeah. It definitely creeped me out for a minute. We're like, how did this happen? It's like worked out so well.
The best part too is the line that it glitched out in was cannot form sentence.
Yeah.
And it just
Yeah. Cannot compute worth.
yeah.
And like this was meant to be. I mean, I feel like your life is choose your own adventure, but there's sometimes where like the older I get, where I'm like, man, this is like crazy how like the probability of this happening is astronomically large, and yet this did happen, and it's making both of us very happy, and like to the point where we're listening to the masters and crying like this is exactly how we wanted it to sound. And
That's great.
yeah, and it's like I don't care who likes this or doesn't, Amanda and I do, and that's great. Like
Nah, dude, that's the major litmus test for all honest music, I think. Like,
yeah,
Or can you stand by it?
right.
Yeah.
Like I can stand by both tunes that I've done with her. Like I zero complaints, especially like working together too. It's been very, very easy. Like just minus like waiting for the right moment to come. Like sometimes I gotta wait for the right. I can't find the effect in my head yet. I gotta wait for it, and then like a
Patience
week
is
later,
good, though.
yeah, patience is huge too. Like for, like especially creating that kind of like theatrical music too, where it's like you can't just play a G chord.
No.
Nothing wrong with a G chord or C or E7. Like it's fine.
No,
but,
I think he's bashing though.
no,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
G hater.
What is the E7 in division? Anyways, E minor.
I don't know.
So it sounds like you have a lot of background in the like you was talking about a lot of technical things. But
Yeah.
your understanding of theory and
Yeah. My mom was a band director for 30 some years. She had my sister had a piano when I was 5. I didn't like it at that point.
The
I
piano?
thought it was a chore.
Yeah.
Like I was a 5-year-old.
something you have to
yeah.
do.
I could do
Practice
it.
your piano,
and then I saw
William.
my sister doing it. I'm like, oh, you're playing a recital? That looks fun. So
Yeah,
like,
recitals. Okay, now
I-
we're talking.
Right.
Yeah.
Once people start
right.
clapping.
Well, yeah,
Get
that
a cute
got me a
little
little
outfit.
excited. And then I did violin when I was in 5th grade, cello and trombone in 6th grade. Still not really like vibing the music yet until I discovered Metallica in 7th grade. And then I'm like, went to my
What is
dad's
this?
work friend took me to see a Reload tour at the Marcus show. for it was Alice in Chains, Days of the New, and Metallica.
Nice.
And I came home like, I want to play guitar now. Like, Dad, what can I do to get? Can we rent a guitar? And my mom's like, you keep playing trombone, we'll rent you a guitar. Like, deal. Yeah, I was actually like, I was pretty good at trombone too. I haven't played in a while. Minus
Trombone's cool.
Yeah, trombone is cool. I want to somehow get it back into my writing, recording. Just waiting for the right time. After Michael did all those trumpets, I'm like, I was gonna lay some trombone over it too. I'm like, let those breathe.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like the bass notes were already covered by the cello. Like I don't want to overdo it. It's fine. We'll find another tune to do.
I picked up a trombone once and tried messing around with it. Mm-hmm. My sister played it in her grade school band when she was like 10 or 12. She wanted to do it. Everyone else was doing the flute and all the stuff, and she's like, I want the trombone. Sax all the way. I did sax growing up.
Hell yeah.
Alto sax. I got a tenor sax now that's real fun, but the saxophone was definitely.
It's a cool instrument.
And if you can play the saxophone, you can basically play the clarinet. I mean,
fuck the clarinet. I mean. My favorite song ever has a clarinet,
especially
in
G.
I cannot handle.
My mom's main instrument
really?
is clarinet.
Yeah, my mom plays the clarinet too.
I believe my girlfriend.
I think you just hate moms.
Too. Yeah.
Sounds like.
No. I worked in the public market for 5 years, and there was a clarinet player who was very good, but they would play there every weekend when we were just disgustingly slammed. So it would be all this chaos, and then through that I'd hear like floating through every single weekend, and it kind of drilled into my head that association.
Some negative associations.
Yeah. It's a fine instrument in itself. Like I said, my favorite song ever has it in there, but just thinking about it right now is making me squirm. But I have no basis to really say anything. I can't play any instruments.
You played the piano.
I've seen you play ukulele.
Okay. Yeah, I can
too.
passably make sounds out of the ukulele. And Division, I can compose on the piano.
Okay.
I understand the sounds and what they need to be exactly in my head, so I can translate those. But I wouldn't even want to do it live. I don't feel that electricity between an instrument like other people do. Instead, my hands, they need to
conduct
shape the space, conduct, which I think is fine.
Yeah, no, there's no right way to skin a cat.
No way. But I think like a lot of times singers that don't play instruments get like a different rap. I mean, I guess you make less money if you have to pay another person to do something, but it's...
What's the rap they get?
Just that they can do less.
Oh.
I don't know. You don't have to carry any gear except for like a microphone
that's pretty
and
fun,
your voice.
Though.
No,
you
it's
just
fucking
show
great.
up.
Yeah.
That's why I play with the band, with my band, be like, I'm just going to sing today. Yeah. And then I can just go and we'll do whatever I want. I don't have to set up. I don't have to do anything. I just show up and I jump on stage.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of people walk around with that ego, like, I'm going to rip a fat solo with this, like, power vessel or something that they have.
Is that what electric guitar is?
Yeah, power vessel.
I'm going to call it that from now on.
It's my secret band.
Oh, is that power vessel a Gibson?
Yeah, no, it's a Fender. Sorry, it's a Fender power vessel.
William and I go to Guitar Center. Just fuck with everyone.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, let's.
You want to go?
Start making.
Is it still open? We can go right now.
Yeah, sorry, we got a dip.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as we can bring these webcams with.
Yeah.
We're just dragging the whole thing.
Excuse me, where's your power vessel section?
Our power supplies are right over here. Oh, no. They have strings.
So do you play instruments? What kind of musicians were in a band?
Yeah. Yeah. What's your most expensive power vessel?
Well, I mean, I've definitely. So when you compose on the ukulele, because the first time I ever saw you, first 2 times I saw you performing, were you and the ukulele.
I initially started with the uke, or I would compose with just layers of my voice. Till actually my partner Noah got me a MIDI keyboard. Because I had started,
Game
once
changer.
I started learning, oh my God, I was doing a I was doing a score for somebody at the time, and I didn't have any sort of MIDI thing. I was making all of the music using the computer keyboard. So like
yeah.
A, S,
Sure,
D,
yeah.
all that. It was very hard, and there was a delay, and it was just like the
And
worst
they don't have
thing.
velocity usually sometimes
Yeah,
too.
no,
so
I
you
had to
can't-
go in and
Yeah.
change each note. It was grueling, and I definitely could see significant growth the minute I got the keyboard. But then it was just a matter of like going through and finding all of the things and re-recording.
So how many of those songs that you regularly play on the ukulele did you compose on that versus the keyboard?
Anything that's on the ukulele was composed on the ukulele.
Okay.
Yeah. I have like a couple different versions of me as a composer that use the different instruments and hoard those sounds in different spaces.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like secret spaces for things.
Yeah, secret spaces filled with power vessels.
Yeah. Too much power.
Yeah, that yeah. So I wouldn't have guessed that you don't have any like technical back, because you obviously have a sense of harmony and melody, and you have an understanding. I've seen you play multiple chords, so I mean,
Yeah.
that's not nothing.
I mean, I think you can just feel when something is right.
Sure.
I always
But that's still some type of education that you've had, whether it's personal, like whether it's autodidactical,
I think
or if it's
I just after repetition or studying different sounds, I think you can teach yourself those sorts of things.
because you're saying you're scoring things. If
Yeah.
you're scoring, I mean that you definitely have some type of awareness of it.
I mean, most of what I listen to are film scores, and I have since a young child. I think you just kind of tap into those sensibilities, what needs to be done, what the structure of a successful score is, how to break those rules. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very vague answer. Again, I think it's
I didn't really. I had a vague question.
yeah.
I don't even know the question. No, I guess I was just bringing it, kind of just piggybacking on what you said about how you said you couldn't play instruments or something, and I don't know. I'm going through this phase now of I'm taking lessons now. I've never took lessons really for anything, and I'm taking kind of composition, voice, and piano lessons all together in one thing from my uncle, who's a choir director and composer and conductor, and he's done all that. And now I'm like, there's part of me that's love. It's kind of like what you're saying. Like I don't know what I'm playing on the guitar.
But you know when it's right.
But I know when it's right, and I know what it's. I've composed so much music, and I barely know what any of the keys are or what the note changes are or anything.
Right.
It's just like this just sounds good, and I don't really care. And there's shapes; they look like shapes to me, and that's about it. And
Patterns are a huge part of music. Yeah.
And now I'm like kind of like trying to, and I've been so like holding on to that, like that's it, like that's just the intuition. I don't need to know any of this theory. I don't need to know what's going on. And then I don't know, but then I was talking to my uncle, and he was showing me this stuff, and it's like, okay, well let me at least like explore this or something, at least see what's going on, and learn this. And now I'm kind of like in this weird in between where I'm like, and I'm still kind of like not fully invested in like, okay, now I'm going to learn all the theory and I'm going to learn all this stuff, because there's some part of me that's like, will I lose that intuition? Will I lose that? Well, am I going to start overanalyzing things? Am I going to start like worrying too much about it? But I don't know. I don't think any education's ever going to hurt. And I think like if it's only going to improve.
As long as you remember to just let go at certain points. Like, okay, I know how to drive a car, but do I think about how to drive a car all
Put
the time?
the blindfold on.
Yeah, it's kind of like put on that tunnel vision.
But am I a race car driver?
I do that constantly. Like if I feel stuck, I'll
But
try
do
to
you
learn
think you are
something new,
driving?
and then I try to forget it.
Right.
And then if you did enough of the exercises, it's ingrained in your brain already. And then when you feel inspired, you'll gravitate towards those new tools that you just learned.
Yeah.
Same with like engineering with
Sure.
and plugins and
I know
outboard gear.
I know exactly how to make this sound like what I'm thinking.
Right.
I need to slap that thing on
Right.
that.
So yeah,
Slap it on it.
you're on you're on
Sounds
the
like
right
you're making a
track
sandwich.
as far don't lose your
Pretty much.
don't lose that intuition.
That's a good mix.
But keep
Just a
learning,
nice sandwich.
and you'll always have something to.
I love a studio sandwich.
Yeah, to do something new, to create something new. As long as definitely keep that intuition and like what comes internally from you already.
Right.
But
And
obviously,
that's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the music making is, right? Just
Right.
figuring out how to get all. I remember when I was a kid walking, and I did take piano lessons, but I didn't learn anything like technically. I had lots of opportunity to practice the piano, and I would get, and they'd give me, my favorite was just memorizing Beethoven. Like I just loved Beethoven's stuff, and but I didn't know what the notes were. I didn't know what keys they were in. My teacher would mark every accidental as if it's in C major. She would just mark it all, like circle each flat or sharp. And so then I never had to learn any key signatures. And we never even talked about time signatures. But I had this for like 12, 13 years. So
Wow.
pretty big missed opportunity there. But
Yeah.
but like, yeah, I think my mom just really felt. She was the neighborhood piano lady, grandma who taught. Her mom taught. She was like 90. Her mom was like over 100, still teaching. It was crazy.
Damn. Goals.
Yeah.
Like literally over 100.
Yeah, she lived over 100. But that I remember walking to class and walking to lessons and just hearing orchestras in my head, just like, oh, and I just kept imagining like, if only they had a machine that could just like
Pull it out.
Yeah.
And
just,
put it
like,
in a MIDI
Yeah,
sequencer.
exactly.
And then you figure it out what instruments you want.
Yeah,
where.
like that would be. I was just
Yep.
thinking, like, man, someone has to come with that. But
Get
there's
you a Steve Peplin.
That's true.
Because I couldn't even like hum it. I could hear it, but I couldn't even like.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's just so much. Because I would listen to this. I would listen to Mozart or listen to all this stuff, and I could hear. I hear all these beautiful scores and these beautiful, from so many good films and all this brilliant music that just obviously just shakes you from
Yeah.
and beautiful operas and it was there and I had it. I could feel it, but as I was getting older and starting, I'm like, okay, it doesn't really work like that. I kind of have to.
You have to isolate all the
Yeah,
parts.
and you have to learn what the hell's going on. Like it's so much more complicated to translate what's going on in your head, and half the time I'll hear something in my head, and then I go to compose something, or I'll go and try and do something, and a different sound shows up, and then I go, oh, but I like that,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden I'm on a whole different path. But then when I get to the end, it's like, this is absolutely amazing, but not anywhere close to what I originally thought.
It's easy to get distracted. Like you sit down on the piano and try to, okay, where's that idea start? And you hit the wrong note. You're like in such a creative mode. We're like, oh, like exactly what you're saying. We're like,
New song.
New song. Okay, cool. But try to remember that. And by the time you're composing this new song, you're like, when you're done with that, and like, what was I humming before?
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
But sometimes that's like, and that's like a useful, that inspiration brings you to there.
Yeah.
Right? Like the inspiration of that first, oh, let me try and make a song like this.
Yeah.
And then it turns into
Worst
something.
case, it gets you at the instrument.
Yeah.
Playing,
Worst case,
you
it's
know.
just to practice, and worst case,
Right.
and that's the thing.
Which is not a bad case at all.
No,
Yeah.
that's a win.
That's a win.
That's a W. Check that one off. Practice today. Yeah. Well, so how often are you composing, Amanda? Like, how often are you working on?
Things?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, pretty much every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I just take voice memos all the time.
Voice memos, okay.
Especially, I mean, I'm working a ton.
You compose a lot with your voice then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've done full things with just voices isolating all the parts. It's one of those things where,
Yeah.
you say you can hear the full orchestra, and I have a very similar thing. So I'll just go and I can isolate those parts in my head and then sing them out. And
Well, if your voice is your strongest instrument, and so much, that's how I always felt too. Was like, I don't need another thing to play when I can just sing it.
right.
Like that's natural. It's like comes out like second nature.
Well,
And
I
if-
like it being an instrument too. I mean, obviously, like with the writing of Division, it was more about the delivery of the lyrics and the clarity of that. But in general, like I said, I was raised on film scores, and so a lot of training myself how to sing was just by imitating those different instruments and really dialing into their tones and I think from there you're able to replicate a lot of things, or at least like give the impression, so that if you pass it off to somebody else, they could still get the gist of what you're trying to compose.
Definitely. So then when you bring it to other people, maybe to start playing instruments using your vocal parts, so do they have to what's the word?
What, like
Transpose or transcribe?
Yeah.
Transcribe it.
Yeah, so far I haven't had too many times where I've brought it directly to somebody. Sometimes I'll just do it myself on the MIDI. But I have had instances where, like, I brought it to Steve, and he's a master at that sort of stuff. So I just told him what needed to be what, and he would make charts out of it, which is kind of insane.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Last April, we did this live scoring thing for a silent film at the Oriental Theater.
Oh, yeah.
It was super cool. We
I
got
heard
to
Anthony
score a
was
silent
tell
film.
me about something.
Yeah, Anthony did an entire like improv thing to a different
That's awesome.
film. But when I was composing it, I did that with voices and then passed it off to Steve. Steve made the charts, and then I brought in Michael Ritter on bass and Pat Reinholtz on cello, and we just were able to do it live.
That's awesome.
Which was really, that was the first time that I had actually heard one of my compositions be brought like fully to life. That wasn't, that didn't go through hearing it on my computer with different, instruments plugged in, I guess. It's wild.
Yeah, especially in a big theater, like big beautiful theater like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just it.
And two, like, moving picture.
Yeah.
It's a cinematic thing. Everything was in play.
I think that's something really special. That audio visual experience is so powerful.
It makes my heart explode.
Yeah, there is really some cross modality that, I mean, just I wonder how many different senses people will be able to compose in, or create. I mean, now we got the visual and the audio stuff going on. That's been around for a little bit, like dancers and things.
Yeah.
But I always wondered about, like, smells, like when
or touch too, like the
touch,
4D rides they have at Universal Studios, like that Trek 4D where you get sprayed with water at one point.
Well, I compose with touch.
What's that?
I said I compose with touch because I have auditory tactile synesthesia. So a lot of like the writing process is based on temperatures.
Okay.
You know that, I've asked you.
Yeah.
To send me colors and stuff, or pressures.
It would be cool to translate that to an actual show then, and like when things heat up in the song. Yeah. I don't know how you would go about doing that without having just one building being dedicated.
You should perform it in a hot yoga studio.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I sweat a lot.
It's starting to get hot in here.
Wow.
No,
easily.
You bet. I wonder about that. But the other day I was thinking about snap smell. If there's like a Snapchat for smell, like
what?
Like
I'm interested.
Dude, you better patent that before Apple takes it.
I mean, it's not.
Click the home button to disperse.
It seems like it's pretty. And I think there are like those 4D rides and stuff, and someone was telling me about that they do have some pretty primitive versions of that, but it's not very. Smell is so very.
Skeleton key.
Smell is so very mysterious still now. I think they've gotten audio pretty figured out, and visual too. Like we figured out the eye and the ear to a degree, like anatomically and even cognitively. A lot of the like. I'm sure there's plenty more to learn, but when it comes to smell, I wonder, if you like incorporate that in a part of a song, all of a sudden it's just some stank, like.
I think we take smell for granted a lot, so if it sneaks up hard.
Yeah. I wonder. Yeah, then the bass player with the stank face really have a totally different meaning.
Yeah, what do you think the bass would smell like?
Fungus.
Fungus?
Ooh,
I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Fungi.
Mushrooms have a weird smell.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird mushrooms with weird smells.
You think the bass would smell like mushrooms?
I don't know. That was the first thing that came to my mind.
It's a low frequency smell.
I feel like it'd smell like bread.
Yeah.
Bread? Ooh,
Bread.
Grain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you could mix would literally be like a cake mix.
What's the high frequency smell?
Probably like herbs
Citrus?
or something. Citrus. Oh yeah, a
Ooh,
little like
yeah.
lemon zest on
Yeah,
there.
around 2K.
Yeah, I like that.
See, here we go. Studio sandwich.
Yeah,
Wait, this is live. People are going to steal our ideas. Can we log off, please?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's here. You heard it first.
I'm sure someone's already thought of it, and
Yeah.
the technology is a pretty limiting factor. But yeah, I was describing that
We're fucking brilliant.
to my aunt.
Studio sandwich. I'm sorry.
I was describing this to my aunt about the concepts of mixing because she's recording stuff and she's a jazz singer.
I'm
and-
still on cooking.
Well, I'm about to bring it right back there.
Okay.
So because I was trying to describe the concept of a mix, and because she had this quartet that she recorded in Puerto Rico, and it's this kind of it's not swing, but it's this kind of Latin-y jazz, and she didn't understand why this mixing engineer is a really talented mixing engineer, but they mixed it all kind of equal.
Flat.
And she's a vocalist, and this was supposed to be her like vocal thing, and she wanted it to be, have it, and the piano was fighting with her voice the whole time. I could hear it, and she wanted to be, she didn't get it, and she was just like, I don't know, she didn't know the language to use, how to describe it, to describe how she's like, it sounds shrill, and it's like, there. You send me other recordings, and you can hear those mid tones like real nice, and that's what she wanted. And so I was describing it. I was trying to, and so the only analogy I could think of was like mixing something in a pot, or something like that.
Right.
All the different elements have to come together in a certain way, and certain things have to be accented.
You have to EQ stuff out.
You can't just like
yeah,
mix it all
and
to
sometimes
one piece.
exactly, and sometimes you have to isolate certain things and mix them together first for them to mix
right
nicely, and then
Like,
you put them together.
This element by itself, if you mix it the way that it's supposed to sound good, if you isolate it, it sounds like shit. But
Right.
if you put it with this other element, there's a reason why you EQ'd it. They mask each other.
Yeah.
Become
Then-
a whole.
Yeah, and then she was just like, oh my, I was like, I know this is a strange analogy, this cooking analogy, but it was like it was the only thing I could think of to like describe, and that's like
makes
mixing.
sense.
So what is mixing?
Yeah.
It's like you're mixing things.
Or my other job is I work at Bitter Cube, and I make
Oh yeah.
well balanced cocktails, and like too much citrus, too much
master.
sweet.
Oh,
Like
okay,
you
so-
want it to be
So you know about this
Yeah.
this smell
right.
smell game.
Oh yeah, definitely, and the taste game for sure. Yeah.
That sounds pretty.
We
dangerous.
pride ourselves pretty hard on like having a well balanced cocktail, no matter what cocktail it is.
Is it
And-
sponsored by Bitter Cube?
Is it? It should be.
I hope so.
Continue with your ad.
That'd be nice.
It wasn't meant to be like that, but
No,
no.
this is-
Basically, in a
it's cute.
nutshell, like what makes a good margarita, what makes a good sidecar or a daiquiri, what makes a good whiskey sour is just the right spirit, a good spirit, and the balance between citrus and.
So is that your cross training then? So
Yeah, when I started working at Bitter Cube, I'm like, all right, I want to apply what I know about music to cocktail making. I want to, like, when I hear something, what am I tasting? Which is literally what we're talking about right now.
yeah.
Trying to make cocktails that go along with songs.
So you're gonna make a division cocktail?
I
Is that what you're saying?
should.
Ooh.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
Maybe not a grave talking, because I don't think that I would purchase something with grave in the name.
Yeah, division's better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you'd have to have the top and the bottom be separated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do a float.
Yeah.
I like a whiskey
yeah.
sour float.
I was thinking like those trashy shots that.
Oh yeah. 3 layers.
Yeah.
Well, divide.
But it could be like the A, B sections of
I think
the,
we're doing a Christmas menu again this year coming up, so I'll have to make a new cocktail for that, and I might call it Division. Santa's Division.
Maybe we
I don't
should
Santa's
just
division.
Name something a little bit more accessible.
Division of
Yeah.
Santa.
know. Yeah, Division of Santa. Division of Labor.
Yeah, our next song is
Santa
called
and Santa
Tasty
2.
Cocktail.
Santa 2.
Don't ask why.
Don't ask why.
Naughty, naughty or nice.
There you go.
Division.
Yeah.
Yin and yang, baby.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I don't know what's going
There's a
on.
little bit of naughty and nice, and a little bit of nice and naughty. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
No way. 100% naughty.
Not according to ancient Chinese Taoists.
Well, according to me.
Well, that's what they right. There's a little bit of the white and the black, and a little
Yeah.
yin and yang, and a little yang and yin. Yeah, yeah. That is. I've always thought that was fascinating. Those cross modal ideas, because we are sensorial creatures, right? And we have all these different ways of doing it. And that's interesting. I didn't know that about you, that you had synesthesia. But you said it's with touch and...
Yeah, auditory, tactile, and then also the
Okay.
chromo with the colors and stuff like that. But that makes sense because I went to art school, so...
So is that something that you've always had as a kid? Like then
Yeah.
doesn't develop. It was since you were...
Yeah. I mean, I think I just, like, grew up
So how does
assuming that everybody
Yeah.
had that sort of thing. And it didn't strike me as weird until I got into conversation, and some people were just like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" You know, that
Doesn't
sounds
this
not
feel
blue.
like
or-
blue?
yeah, you're just like in a corner, being a
Well,
freak.
in high school on MySpace, I remember I made a group that was called "We Wished We Had Synesthesia."
Really?
And yeah, and it was because I heard about it and I was like, "This sounds amazing."
Yeah.
And then I made it, and it like was one of those. It was a public group, and all of a sudden, like a bunch of people were joining, and it went. And I didn't even. It was beyond my control. After that, I just like gave it up and was like, all right. And then MySpace wasn't around for too much longer there, but
No.
it was amazing
Yeah.
that people were drawn to that idea of like,
Yeah.
like you don't need to be on LSD to have this. Like it's part of how a lot of people's understandings. And have you heard of the Cyborg Institute?
Oh, is that by that one guy who had the implant so he
Yeah.
can see sounds?
Yeah, the guy with the little antenna. He's like, or is he Danish? No, he's Dutch.
Yeah, I can't remember his name,
But he's
but I
English,
listened to a
but he's
TED
Dutch.
Talk on him.
Yeah, that guy.
That stuff is awesome. He can
'Cause
see.
he was black and white.
He was just black and
colorblind.
white. Yeah.
He's colorblind, but he wanted to see color, and the best way he figured out was to
Get
have
the implant.
have a cochlear implant, and it would vibrate at certain frequencies depending on what color this little camera was pointing at.
What?
So
He could see infrared and
What?
ultraviolet.
so he wouldn't see it, but
Yeah.
he would hear it, and then it became almost a new sense.
How do you hear infrared?
He was a computer scientist, so he developed some sort of algorithm to convert whatever light frequency was being received by the camera
Okay.
was then converted into a audio frequency that would vibrate behind his ear or whatever and
Weird.
go into his head. And so then he said that he would start to dream in these vibrations. So he would dream color more or less. He would hear color more or less. But but then he started painting.
He made like
songs,
portraits of people
yeah.
and stuff too. Yeah.
He'd paint songs and he would compose portraits and he had it was funny because he had like a Mozart and then he had like it was all blue and green and then he had Justin Bieber's Baby and it was all pink and white or something, it was
It's fascinating.
it was blew my mind. And they have other things, like more tactile things where it seemed useful for like people who are blind or people that they would have these proximity sensors embedded into their fingertips. So they would know when they would be able to get close to an
Those are like
object,
bats.
and it would just like slightly vibrate. So if you're blind, you can instead of just guessing and just reaching out, that you can actually use these close proximity sensors in your fingertips.
Wow.
God, imagine how like crazy you could get with
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Just moving around to space. Oh, I love
You
that.
say he was Danish?
I think it might have been Dutch.
Or Dutch?
But
I'll
he
have
was
to look it up.
English. He had he like his whole claim was that he was the first official cyborg because he convinced the United Kingdom
To recognize
government
them.
to take a picture of his national ID with his antenna.
Weird.
So he made an antenna that like went over his head, like to look like he's a bug.
I love it.
And so he
What's his name?
I don't remember what his name is, but you could look it up.
I'll have to look
It's
it
a
up.
TED Talk. I saw a TED Talk of his too, but he's
Sweet.
Yep.
he's given a few other talks. That was years ago. I wonder. I don't know what. I haven't looked up the Cyborg Institute since, but that I would only imagine it's expanded, and more people
has
are because the more and more people do that, then like this whole idea of synesthesia could be something that can be, achieved by, becoming a cyborg essentially.
Right.
It's not like all great though. I mean,
Yeah, no, it's a romanticized thing. Like I was saying when I was a
Yeah.
kid, it was like, oh, imagine if I could, but I'm sure it comes with its own.
Yeah, it's overstimulating.
Yeah.
And you can't be like, there's too much blue, or, it's, crowding or something like that when it's just a song. Because, other people don't think in that way.
Right.
You just have to be careful.
And everyone's perceptions are probably different. Like, I'm sure how you experience things are probably different than how other people experience it, just
and
like anyone else.
You can see lineups in some spaces, especially like color. You'll see a lot of people matching up just because of early childhood development. They've kind of cued us into certain like primaries and stuff like that.
Primaries, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Largely, it is just like a singular tool. It's like a private, secret experience.
Yeah. I mean, you never know what the fuck's going on in people's heads and how they're perceiving things. And
right.
Yeah.
What are you guys thinking?
Not telling you.
Yeah, that's something that's fascinating. So I didn't know about that about you. That's interesting. That I could see that the tactile experience to me isn't. I don't know. I don't have like dull senses by any means, but I definitely like when I go places I smell. I definitely get affected by smell a lot, and I definitely get affected.
You're caught up on these smell things.
Yeah, I think so. Smelling something. No, like smells will make me nauseous, or smells will make me really happy, and people be like, "Why are you like? It's not that bad, like, or it's not that big of a smell."
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, "I don't know." And like you're saying about how your auditory experience changes based on what you think about every day.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're thinking about all these rhythms and these melodies and all these and then it's going to be constant and can be, like it's how you're programmed your whole perception of reality.
Right. Like even going back to division and recording, and the reason why I went and recorded toilets flushing is because I wasn't getting that right.
You didn't even mention that in this.
Oh, I haven't?
No, we were talking before.
We were talking about it. Oh, okay. So, I have a bunch of different flanger effects via guitar pedals or plugins or whatnot, and it just was not feeling the touches freezing. It wasn't communicating those words.
That line in the song.
The sound wasn't communicating properly, and I went to the bathroom. I was like on a break. I'm like frustrated kind of, and I flushed the toilet and like, wait a second. And I just recorded the toilet flushing a couple times.
So was it the flush or was it the like water after? Okay.
Like
that final drain.
That final drain. So I recorded it a couple times on my phone and sent it to my computer, imported it from Pro Tools, created a stereo track of both, far left, far right, put infinite delay on it, and then a light flanger on top of that, which created the touches freezing, and it made the hair on the back of my neck stand up constantly, like every time. So I'm like, yep, that's what I needed.
So all the
So like I don't turn off audio, like when I was going to the bathroom, it's still there. I'm just like processing where is that sound I'm looking for, and it was in the toilet.
Why that people all the Australian and Asian listeners will probably be able to comprehend it too if you're putting it on the left and the right.
Right.
The right. I'd imagine the toilet isn't that how it works, right? It goes one way and then it goes the other way.
Well, it's still flushing the same way, but I just
okay.
Yeah. I took two.
Does it switch? Maybe it does. I feel like that.
It switches. Yeah. In Australia, it'll flush anti-clockwise or whatever, or I don't know what it's clockwise here, right? Or is it?
I think it's clockwise. I have to go to the bathroom. I'm gonna go find out. Yeah. I actually really do.
I guess you guys would think about it more than me because I just face
the
other way.
Report back.
Yeah, I'll report back.
Oh my god.
I'll be right back.
Oh wait, are you serious?
Well, I also have to go to the bathroom, so I'll be right back.
All right. Well.
And then there were two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that. I guess I wouldn't have never have guessed that was toilet flushing.
It was great. I was showing it to somebody the other day, my friend Jesse, who has a studio on the same floor of the Lincoln warehouse. And we got to that part.
Jesse Carl?
Yeah.
Nice.
And that sound plays, and he's like, "Oh, I really like that water sound," and I just start cracking up because I'm like, "That is literally that toilet right around the
Oh
corner."
wow.
But I mean, it's like funny to hear that from somebody who doesn't know, who's appreciating the sound,
Right.
and I think like,
Well, that's proof that
Yeah.
it was an effective use of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
gosh, it feels like a void here. You just get so excited. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
That's my like Peanuts
Mm-hmm.
impression of William.
He's a. Oh wait, that's the parents, right?
I think it's just whoever's on the phone, but yeah.
Oh, it's just a phone. Yeah.
Maybe it is the parents too. I don't know. I haven't watched it in a while.
Yeah, I wasn't really. I watched Charlie Brown Christmas, but that's about it. To be perfectly honest.
My mom really likes Charlie Brown, so growing up we watched a lot of that.
I guess I've heard a lot of interesting kind of critiques and explanations of what Charlie Brown represented for that generation and like why it was so popular, but I never really fully understood. He comes with a big ass smile.
Counterclockwise.
Okay,
Oh my god.
so it rotates
There you have it.
counterclockwise.
Yep. What I miss?
Just talking about Charlie Brown.
Talking about Charlie Brown.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was just saying I don't really understand that. I've heard some explanations of it, but I guess I don't understand the appeal of Charlie Brown and the generation. I don't know if you guys know.
I think there's also a nostalgia thing, but
or like why people connected with it.
That's a good question. I
Because
never.
I thought it was kind of like just I don't know, maybe because I didn't grow up with it,
Yeah.
but like I grew up with Pokemon.
Yeah.
I mean, I connected that.
I grew up with.
yeah, why do you like
Ninja
Ash Ketchum?
Turtles?
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the question. Yeah, why do I like Ash Ketchum?
God.
Dude, I remember like praying because I went to Catholic grade school, and so we were taught about God and shit, Catholic God, and I remember for Christmas I'd be like, please God, just give me one Pokemon. All I want is one real life Pokemon.
Which one?
I didn't really Pikachu probably,
Pikachu.
because of the TV show.
You could probably have a Porygon now. I mean, that's just like a
I was
robot.
a Snorlax fan.
Snorlax is
Where
great.
the fuck
funny.
would you store a Snorlax?
What? Oh, in my basement. Yeah.
No, I think they're huge, dude.
Well,
Yeah.
but how big?
Like,
Bigger than a basement?
Did you see
Yeah.
that one episode where
Bigger
he was
than a
eating
basement.
the entire forest?
yeah, they're huge.
Yeah.
They're like the size
I knew
of
they
a
were
building.
big, but not like not the size of a building.
I mean, they're
Right?
great. Good Pokemon.
So we'll just get some more
Snor-
space at
what-
the Lincoln Warehouse.
What
It's fine.
what evolved? Was Snorlax its own thing, or did
Yeah.
someone evolve? Is it so? It doesn't
I'm
evolve.
sure there's like a baby Snorlax or something now.
Yeah.
Is there?
I
Well,
stopped
now,
following
Like the
yeah.
baby
after
Yoda,
Johto and
you know?
Kanto.
Oh, wait, has anyone seen Mandalorian yet?
I haven't
No.
seen it, but I've seen the pictures because internet.
Oh, right.
Elsa is
Oh, the
not
Yoda?
baby Yoda.
Yeah, I saw
okay,
that.
I know that much.
Well, it's
I know it's
same
whatever
race.
same. Yeah,
I
And
saw
he's-
all the memes that people were discovering.
He's
There
a-
was
it's
the one-
baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda, but then there was then what race is it? Do you even know? Then what?
Yoda.
The Yoda
yeah,
race.
I don't think it's ever been named. I don't think his race has ever been named. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I've never heard of it.
There's
Heard
a
of it,
good
you never
Yoda
have.
lady.
I never have. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I always wondered,
Uneducated I am.
That's his wife. That's where the baby came.
what's that called? I mean, the predicate forward. No, I forget what the there's just
Yoda. Much to learn you have.
Much to learn. I can't start. We can't
Yoda's
start.
like a. It's like Kermit the Frog, elderly Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, 900 years old. Kermit the Frog.
But like
Frog.
a continual role though too. I feel like Kermit's very like
Yeah.
punctuated.
There's something about. Yeah, it's like he's like Carl Sagan.
Yeah. Oh my god,
Yeah.
I was just watching a clip of him the other day. I was like, damn, he sounds like Kermit here.
Yeah, Kermit's just Carl Sagan. Carl the Sagan.
Carl Sagan.
Plot twist.
There's a lily pad. Yeah, that's. So I don't know. I don't know what that's all about, or what Charlie Brown was, or like why what the whole
How
deal
that
was.
got so popular.
And who was the girl that would always mess with him?
Lucy.
Lucy. And that whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if
She
it's...
was mean.
Yeah, she was mean. But I think she was teaching him a valuable lesson every time.
Not
Yeah.
to play
But he
football.
didn't he didn't get it. Right?
No, because he
Or
just
did
wanted
it-
to try. I don't know. Maybe he's too trusting.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
the devil.
But they were
Tempted Charlie.
kick the ball, Charlie Brown. I wonder. Yeah, I'm sure there's that can be unpacked. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're probably just the wrong generation to
Yeah.
ask that question.
I'll ask my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should ask her. Because I don't know. I mean, well, yeah. What does Ash Ketchum mean? What is he for?
I don't know,
No
but he was
idea.
definitely one of my first crushes as a kid. I was like,
Yeah,
what do you mean I can't date anime?
yeah. Misty was
Wait, you thought you could?
I don't know.
when you're
Between
a kid.
him and Static Shock, I was just
Ooh,
like,
Static Shock. Yeah.
yeah,
Static Shock. That's
so cool.
yeah. He's so cool.
With his like trash can.
Yeah. Ash Ketchum was like he had a
He's kind of whiny, but he had cool
he
hair.
was a little whiny, but he was like a hero, right? He was like Harry Potter,
Yeah,
you know, like
he was very righteous.
yeah, he was usually took the moral high ground, you know,
Yeah.
and he would, you know, and would go through adversity, and he was pretty generous dude, right? But
Yeah, well
that's
enough.
yeah, right. I don't know.
He kind of just kept stumbling into things and being like, well, I got to win this. Got to catch them all.
Gotta catch them all.
Pokemon.
That's a great
I'm a
theme song.
musician. Yeah.
The Johto theme song was good too.
I don't know if I know that one. I mean, I'm sure I would know it if I heard it.
Is that the one that goes Pokemon, Pokemon, Pokemon?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay, I do know
I
that
want
one.
to be. Then I would go into it. Remix. Johto.
I don't think I've ever heard of that. I don't
No?
think. No. I was
We
like,
got some catching
After
up to do,
Johto,
bud.
it was
yeah, my
it
cousin was more
Skyward.
into Pokemon, which is why I knew about it, but I never really like watched the, like verbatim watched the show.
But did you play the Game Boy game?
A little bit, yeah, because he had it.
That's a great.
Yeah.
That I actually just
So
an
good.
amazing piece of just the whole thing.
God, and that
Just-
came out before, like, even Game Boy Color when we were using those big gray bricks that were just like
Yeah.
you could
Game Boy
watch
Black
the
and White.
character drag across the screen. So
And you know what's
slow.
crazy about how awesome those is that like they programmed those black and white games with certain type of texturing or whatever it was that it wasn't like what's it called when it wasn't like made to go backwards, it was made to go forwards. They knew that color was coming out,
Yeah.
so they like programmed it even there was only Game Boy Black and White. But when you play a Game Boy Black and White game in a Game Boy Color, it would make colors. It would turn them into colors. So
What, really?
yeah, there were some
How
words.
am
So
I
they were,
not
like,
knowing this? I
preparing
guess I
for
didn't think
that
about that
change.
because
Yeah.
you can put the red and blue and
Yeah, they worked
Wow,
on both.
okay.
They
My mind is just
They worked on both,
Huh.
and there were some games that were made before color came out, and I would put them because my grandma, freaking hell yeah, grandma, she found it. She found
you're supposed to say booyah, Graham.
booyah, grandma. She found a whole thing, a Game Boy. She gave us 2 Game Boy Black and Whites and like a bunch of games. Immortal Kombat, Donkey Kong,
Yes, now we're talking.
Batman, dude.
Now we're talking.
And she was just like, here, we got this at the school or at the church.
Grandma got you Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, dude. She had no idea what it was. She was just like,
It's like my grandma.
it was
took-
rated.
love this.
It was rated M, but it was made for black and white. It was like so old. It was.
Yeah.
It was not. I don't understand how they would rate that mature. It was so because there was black and white blood, maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
I
a
don't know.
violent game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a violent
Insinuating.
It was no more violent than Pokemon. That shit was violent, man.
game. Was it really that
Everyone
violent?
was attacking each other.
Yeah,
I guess
all
so.
the gore. Don't you remember that?
Yeah, but it seems so more like
They had an entire
cartoony
tower
than
of
like
ghosts.
Oh yeah, it was
like
scary. Too.
Mortal Kombat was like people
Yeah,
and blood.
it was pretty explicit.
Everywhere else except for
explicit
the-
fighting.
Yeah.
I think it rubbed people the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like, you know, all the moms, the mom alliance,
Mm-hmm.
probably like,
Because they didn't look like Jade
Mm.
or Katana.
No, I don't think that's why they came after
Sonya.
it.
kidding. Or Baraka.
God, yeah.
Oh, is that the tongue guy? No.
No, he had the. He basically was like Wolverine, but like a demon Wolverine. He was in Mortal Kombat 2. He's great.
Yeah, those were great games.
He'd have that like shredder move where he pulls blades out of his hands and like shred. If you got too close, you got stuck in it. Come on, guys.
Yeah, it wasn't that in. I couldn't really get past a lot of it. I like playing games, but I never really got too far with games. The furthest I ever played was probably a Counter-Strike Source. Is probably what I played in high school. But then once I discovered how to compose music and like started making music, I was just like, I just felt like I was wasting time when I was playing games.
Yo,
For sure.
I opened the cafe today at work to the Skyrim music, so I don't know. You can't tell me those things don't mesh.
Well, I don't think they don't mesh. It's just like,
I definitely went through that phase. I used to play a lot of video games growing up, and then once I like got to mid college or so, it's after like my sweet mates would play Halo against each other. Like that was like
That's a great
that was the
theme song.
last hurrah for me with video games.
Halo,
and I got
yeah.
just so stuck into. That was like right around the time I started recording myself too, and started writing my own stuff too, and just like you said, where I slowly phased it out.
yeah, it wasn't because I didn't like it or find it just seemed like one was gonna bring me where I wanted to be and one wasn't. You know, like if I was going to be addicted to something on the computer,
Right.
might as well be composing. And that's the thing is now, especially nowadays, like on the video game industry is bigger than the music industry and Hollywood combined.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's huge. So
Don't mess with nerds.
and the thing is like there's so much room for musicians in that industry, and so like yeah, I don't think that they don't mesh. I guess
Right.
it was just at the time I was just like I need to make an active decision to
Yeah.
to not play World of Warcraft or not play Counter-Strike because it would take up so much of my time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Those are big time sinks, though. You have
Yeah.
to continually
yeah.
grinding on something like
World of
that,
Warcraft,
though.
I only got to like level 20, and then I was like, okay, and then they're like, oh yeah, and it gets harder and harder. Like you have to spend more and more and more time, like,
Right.
literally more time. Every level, you have to spend more time.
Yeah, till you get your ass kicked by like a 10-year-old who has nothing else to do yet.
Yeah, and they're so much smarter than you, and you know they have all their neurons are fatty as fuck, you know, and they can just sink all that information in, and they,
Greasy and rude.
Yeah.
yeah, who knows what they're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I think about that more about like getting into it, like because I know that Twitch is a huge platform, and like, and there's a lot of ways to get, you know, people make pretty good livings on Twitch now, and it seems like, it seems like an avenue, especially because I like games like I love still playing RTS games. Those are my favorite ones, like Age of Empires, Warcraft 3, like Warhammer 40,000, like those games where it's like we got StarCraft and stuff. Like you got these resources you have to pull together, and you have to build an army, and you have
It's
to
more like tactical.
yeah.
Thing.
I really like those because I love playing Risk growing up and chess and stuff, and I like that strategy of it.
I played a lot of Warcraft, and then RPG games were big for me too, like Zelda.
Yeah, Zelda.
Yeah, that was huge growing up for me, and Mario, Donkey Kong, especially like the 64 versions of those, which were kind
So
of
good.
like
So
transformed into like almost like Zelda games, where they're
Yeah.
all doing the same concept, but they're different worlds.
I liked a lot of that too.
Yeah.
I liked like Flash games though.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of. I mean, when Newgrounds and Congregate and
Yeah.
all of that were a big thing, there's this wonderful little sect of that's got art Flash games, and that's kind of where the synapses go
Bowman?
flying. Well, no, not like Bowman. Bowman is not an art Flash game.
No, that's not art.
I mean, just because he's a stick man. No, it was. I mean, it was like
No, I know what you mean.
puzzle based, generally, or more like poetic exploration. That I think was a
Yeah,
nice
that's
emergence.
sad that Flash is gone. I mean, I understand why. I mean, it's an incredibly vulnerable it's an incredibly vulnerable platform, especially on the internet. Like you're so easy to hack it, so easy to spread viruses through it and stuff. But I mean, now there's other ways to make those games now that are safer and stuff. But I actually I remember downloading it. It was Macromedia before Adobe bought it, right? Macromedia Flash, and I made a couple animations on there.
Cool.
But I didn't do any. I had no idea how to make a game on it. I know it's ActionScript, which is a lot like JavaScript.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
I'd love to learn how to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like a video game.
JavaScript is pretty. It's pretty accessible. You can go online and learn it, and you can now with HTML5 and JavaScript. That's all you need, and you can make a simple game with it. Pretty.
Maybe
It's not
that's my next project. You'll have to
learning
wait
how
a
to
couple
code.
years before another single.
Well, you can make the single, with the game.
Right.
Release a game with the single. Yeah.
Didn't you say you wanted to do that with Division? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
A
how long
game?
it would take me to pick that up. I mean, I learn stuff very quickly,
Cool.
but
To achieve something pretty, a simple game. It's not, but it is, because I have a web development background, computer engineering background, so I know how to program, and I've done that, and
yeah,
and there's
you already have that base knowledge.
it's harder. It's harder than once you get over the basic, once you understand the syntax of it, and once you understand like the basic logic that's involved, then everything opens up. And every environment is different. Like every language is different. Every environment is different. What you're using, but chances are someone already made a library that you can easily just pull elements from and just put it all
Know what I'm
together.
thinking from.
Yeah.
Similar to music. You learn a handful of chords, you can go along with that, right?
No doubt.
Same as programming.
No doubt, man.
Interesting.
I love the creating that in that aspect too of I think there's a lot of similarities in that way, because I started to develop websites and stuff, and that idea of creating something visual that you could interact with and that people would use and find value in it, and that like you get information, you could touch it, you could move it, you can just color it and texturize it and move it around and stuff. It felt very creative.
Mm-hmm.
But you're using these super logical elements to get there. You have to write these lines of code. They have to make sense. It has to follow this certain algorithm, and then, which is a different mindset than. But to a degree, I mean, engineering is a lot like that. When you
Right.
engineer something, you have to. There are algorithms I'm sure that you're doing every time.
Right.
When you pull up a new track, it's like, okay, I know, like these are the steps we got to do. Right, throw an EQ, throw a compressor on.
Right.
Okay, like cut off the top, cut off the lows, cut off the highs.
Or signal flow busing to
Right.
subgroups or this and that, right? Creating aux sends for if you're recording or mixing, depending on what's going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's stuff that you obviously don't even think about. I don't even think about anymore. I'm setting up those chains of plugins that are for each instrument, and I don't think about it until that's done, and then I start to branch off in different directions from there, based on what the instrument is or what's going on. Like EQ, like you said, EQing certain compressions for certain instruments or subgroups, stuff like that.
So you pretty much have an EQ and a compressor on every track.
Usually, well, not all of them. It depends. I obviously listen to the track first and doesn't need it, because early on in my learning of engineering, and most people are like that, where they just want to throw plugins on everything for no reason.
It's like putting garlic in cooking before you know how to
Oh
cook.
yeah.
Right. It's like
Garlic
why?
Just cover that up a little.
Why do I need an EQ? What am I doing with this
Right,
EQ? Oh, this low end needs to go. Cool. We need an EQ. Or I use a lot of that Wave plugin, the C6 multiband compression. Do I need to compress the whole
C6.
thing, or do I need to compress just certain frequencies?
Yeah, I've used compressors, but I haven't gotten that far to the multi-band thing.
Yeah.
For mix, yeah. And there's that trick too of also listening to things quietly, right? Or turning things down.
I usually
right? That's a good
nowadays
trick.
I start off quiet as fuck, as quiet as possible, because
Right.
it allows you to really hear who's louder than who, who's talking louder than who, and why, and do I need to adjust that, or is that good? Because when you're turning it up loud, like blasting, it's great and all, feels great, and you're in it. Yeah. But it's like also masking, at least for me at my studio, it's masking what's really going on. And I like to start my mixing session, especially like hear stuff, very quiet, and then at the end of my session, I'm like, all right, cool, let's hear it loud. Right. And that seems to be a good
because when it's
procedure for me.
When it's quieter, those small changes are so much more significant.
Yeah, you can really hear the difference.
Yeah.
It took me a little time to get used to that. But like even just like doing experiments with EQs and like moving things ever so slightly at a small volume, or like, okay, I can your ears get in tune to those changes over time, and then nowadays I can just plug in and work pretty fast at a quiet volume. As opposed to like 2 years ago. You know?
And it's better for your ears too.
Yep, definitely.
No way, the louder it goes, that's better. Trust me.
Yeah.
Ears need like a healthy dose of just massive sound.
Yeah, absolutely. Just as loud as it gets.
Yeah.
So so you don't feel anything.
Right. Your face is
dull
numb.
the pain a little bit. That's how you know it's working.
Your senses are numb. You can't even smell anymore.
No.
Damn it.
Yeah.
You guys know how I feel about smell.
Yep.
We know his weak point. Yes.
No, I in college that was the most irritating thing for me. Like those, or I mean, it's not just college, but like house parties, we'd throw, and my roommates would be in control of the sound. It was just so irritating, and it's just like louder doesn't mean better, guys.
Right.
Like what
Can
are you
say
doing?
that for all the bars around?
Yeah,
here?
I was gonna say too. Also bars.
Or the people driving in cars where like my girlfriend says, "I just don't get the value and how loud that is." I'm like,
probably feels good.
I get it, but yeah, probably that subwoofer,
yeah,
that low end.
No, I hate that in a bar. It's like even
God.
I walk.
You have all the shrill highs, and you're just like.
You can't have conversations with people either.
And there's like 3 people in there.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
There's 3 people in here. No one can hear anything.
You
like,
run into someone you haven't seen in a while, and they're like, no. It's like, yeah, it's good to see you too. What? What did you say? I don't know what you said. Do you want to go outside?
It's really irritating to me.
So wait, it's winter 8 months.
Yeah. I went into an
I'll-
Applebee's with my mom to like chat. We were chatting.
Was it Club Applebee's?
Club Applebee's.
$5
like
Long
after
Islands.
Have 5 appetizers.
No, but I mean, it was just something like that where it's like no one is here to get turned. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know. Club Applebee's.
I've gotten turned at Applebee's before.
Okay, but anyhow, in this occasion,
I mean, you go okay. Yeah. In this, it was like a Wednesday evening.
Okay.
7:00 on a Wednesday.
I don't know, hump day.
I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I was like, where can we sit where we're not going to be blasted with this?
Right.
Sure.
And I'm not going to be that guy like, can you turn down the music?
Right.
It's like at an Applebee's, it's not my place.
Oh my God.
But like, it was just too loud. It was just, it was unnecessary. And but especially at bars and small bars where it's just like kind of know your audience. And that's the thing, like know your audience. There are, like I said, 3 people here. Do you really need to have it full blast?
Also,
Turn it up when there's more people here.
Right.
That's fine. I get it. When it's packed, turn it up.
That vibe going on
that's
sure.
fine. But like when there's 3 people, just don't.
you just get off to yourself at that point.
And
That's
it's
what
painful,
it is.
man. It's painful. I mean, but now I walk all my sets of keys. I have earplugs, which is totally necessary, and it just drowns all that shit. But you can still hear people. People are like, can you hear me? I'm like, yeah.
Well, you can get those fancy like decibel.
Yeah, I haven't gotten those.
They're
It's
not
harder
that
to
expensive.
hear some people with lower voices though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
that's why everyone should practice having multi voices.
Everyone needs to speak from their head voice.
Ugh, no.
You don't want to hurt
I
your
don't
chest
know.
voice.
I think playing with Strangelander is what helped me develop my low voice because I couldn't hear over all of the instruments going on, but the lower register would cut through a lot of those like high keys. Steve likes to play high on the fret with guitar, or Pat, with all that.
Yeah. Developing that's one thing that I just started to learn too about the chest voice and the head voice and the break between the two when you go all up, and then there's that break, and you want to get rid of the break, and least my uncle, he's like a Gregorian chant guy.
Cool.
And so he's all about the head voice. He's like he'll like yell at some of the bassists, not yell, but he'll like suggest to them
In his head voice?
no. Well, everyone speaks in their chest voice. That's what he says, at least. Your conversational voice is
I don't
your
know.
chest
I've
voice.
definitely met people that talk with their head voice.
Like Michael
Yeah.
Jackson.
Hello.
But that's what he's like. Great guys, great. Trying to use your head voice. It's like the lowest frequencies ever. Like that, these people are singing these.
Right.
They're they sing opera, and they have it's beautiful. These beautiful, rich.
Yeah, but you can still get those, like pulling from.
Yeah,
different
and that's
parts
what
of
he's saying.
you.
He's like, just use your head voice. Use your head.
That's the most exciting thing when you realize that you can create all of those different registers over and over again from different parts of you.
And they all have different qualities.
Yeah,
and
completely
timbres.
different tones.
Yeah, like the way that they sound, and that's something that I've like. I just joined the choir. I'm not a practicing Christian, but like, well, don't tell them that. But oh shit, no, they're Episcopalians. They're chill. And I'm Baptist,
You
so
just
it's all
get a
good.
billion angry reacts.
I thought this is the only reason I'm here. No, it's such a great. I've never been in a choir before. Never been in a choir, so it's learning so much just by being in it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Like I'm learning. Not only am I getting, I hear people who are much better than me, and they've been singing their whole lives, or they're studying vocal performance, and like the power they have in their range and power is incredible. It's like, oh, I thought I had a good voice that was powerful. It's like, no. These holy
People
crap.
have it fine too.
Well,
Yeah.
you do. It's just a different version. Like you're more like that rock sensibility, whereas they're more orchestral and choral.
Well, they have to be like an
Yeah.
entire conglomerate kind of
Yeah,
creature.
you also have to
though.
blend.
Yeah.
The
Right.
blending of it, the vowels. Like half the time he's just like, okay, everyone will play this, and then we stop on this one note. Okay, we stop on the. Everyone's just and he's like, and he's always just like, like
And
just
then they
waiting.
hold that note till everyone passes out.
And he's just waiting. He's
Weird
like, you hear it?
church.
You hear it? You hear it? You hear it? You were there. You were there for a second. You were there for a second. Blended just for a second. You heard it? You hear the resonance? It's like, wow. Like, but it is when that happens. It's an incredible experience
For sure.
when you hear a choir that just like nails it.
Yeah.
It's just the whole, and they're, oh man, it's crazy. It's been such an amazing learning experience. It's like doing that. I never did that. Like my sisters were in choir in high school, but I never joined. I wasn't in band. I wasn't in choir. I was in the computer club, which just was basically video game club. But we masked it as computer club because it was gonna be better on the college resume,
For sure.
Cool.
But yeah,
the U choir in college at UWM.
you did.
Yeah. I
Nice.
actually met Kieran through there. He was in the U choir too. So it was like 2003, 2004, and 5.
It's called U choir.
University choir at UWM.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was part of my electives or part of my music. I was a jazz guitar major for 2.5 years at UWM before I decided I wanted to drop out and record stuff instead.
So have you recorded things with you singing? Then you have stuff.
No, I don't. Well, some stuff, yeah, like for demoing purposes, but I'm not necessarily fond of my voice, so I let her do that, or my other musician friends that sing. But yeah, I did do it for the sake of singing, like
It's probably a good thing.
those years. Yeah, like with oral theory, it taught me a lot about like recognizing notes, like being able to sing it and see it on
He's
a
able to
step.
communicate it too.
Communicate it, yeah. Like with that trumpet session I did for division was because I went through all that theory. I was easy to communicate or hit the pitch, find it on the bass synth at least. And he's like, "Oh, cool." He translated to the trumpet, and it's like, "Cool."
Yeah,
That's why we're able to work so fast.
yeah. It's the communication skills are so important.
Yeah, I mean, for every musician that wants to take themselves seriously, like I said, I don't really sing much, but I think it was huge for me to do those years of choir for basically what you said, and also just learning about oral theory.
Yeah, the oral theory is so
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so you can you know, and even if you don't like the qualities of your voice or whatever, you can still
I
sing
can still
it.
communicate
Yeah.
to somebody who can do it better, or their timbre is more appropriate, you know. Yeah.
Oral Theory is my next album.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna mash it up with Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, just brainstorming
Yeah,
ideas here.
it's gonna be a double disc.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Crawling.
that's it. I
Dude,
saw.
I love that album when it came out, man.
Me too.
That was
My
so
buddy and
good.
my best friend growing up, we bonded so hard because both of us went on a skiing trip, and we both brought the album, and we
nice.
both had CDs, and we were both, it was like a 3 hour, and we both were like, "What do you listen to?" Yeah, Linkin Park. And I was like, "No way!"
Yeah.
And I pulled out like the same thing. We were like, we're instantly best friends. Like holy, and then we just listened to it the whole time, and we bring it with us like as we were skiing, and like share earbuds.
While skiing?
No,
You must have
not
been incredible.
He had it. He had it. I wouldn't. We'd listen to it on the lift.
Yo, can you just share like the AirPods now? I don't have those.
Oh,
but
yeah,
like, could
right.
you just?
I'm sure. Yeah.
But it's Bluetooth, so I guess you'd have to keep the device pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The low
But if
energy
you were
Bluetooth
good enough
stuff.
at skiing, you could still like.
I'm sure. If you guys
You
were,
stay within
I don't know what the
50
point of it.
feet.
Yeah.
or if you had like a kid that was on a rope, right? Like.
Yeah, that
you
sounds
could- you could-
dangerous.
Sounds very dangerous.
Have you seen those? I don't know if you guys ski.
Kid, no, I've been on ski trips. I know
Yeah,
all
I was in
that.
It's like
ski
the-
club in middle school, and then I went to snowboarding. I could only turn left because I was
So
too
like
scared.
some
I was
Zoolander?
too scared to turn right because for
Snowboarding's
fear
scary,
of falling
dude.
on my face.
Snowboarding is scary.
Yeah.
I tried it. I was just on my ass.
Skiing,
the
I was
whole time.
okay. I was like, I could get down the hill just fine. Nothing flashy. Snowboarding, I was like, went into it thinking, oh, it'd be so cool. This, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
right.
And
That's
like,
what I thought too.
I can only turn left.
Yeah, if you look like an idiot, it's not cool. I
Yeah.
started
No.
off with snowboarding too, and
Definitely
it's like,
not cool.
Yeah, and then someone told me it's like, no, it's your back foot. It's all about your back foot. You have to
Yeah.
move your not your, and because I kept trying to move my front foot, and I didn't. But I just haven't gone back. I'm already okay at skiing, so I'm just like,
Yep.
I
Sure.
tried. I was in Duluth. And I tried it. I tried snowboarding. I rented a snowboard, and it was freezing, and I was on my ass the whole time. It was not
Just
fun.
like scooting down the hill.
At some points, you get so desperate, man. You're just like,
Right.
you're just like, I just want this to end. So, and I didn't have a proper pair of gloves. I had leather gloves.
Oh no.
For some reason.
What?
I don't know. I don't know
Cool
what I was
guy.
thinking. No, they were just. I forget where I got them, but they actually were kind of warm, but they
Just grab them from the
froze.
glove bin on the way out.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they were just like my parents' house. I just grabbed them, but they were frozen like by the end of the night because once the sun went down in Duluth, it was so cold.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole mountain froze, and that's when I went inside. I was like, I'm done with this, and I went inside and I take my glove off, and I put it on the table, and it was like, yeah, exactly. It was like, it's like okay, but when I would put it on, it was like keeping me warm. I was like, whoa, leather, crazy.
Right.
I think it was leather. It used some type of leather.
The end
Or
of the
fake leather.
snowboarding trials for me was what are they called? Moguls or Mugul?
Moguls,
We were at a ski trip at
That's-
Cascade Mountains, and I got stuck. I went down the wrong way, the wrong path, and ended up on the Moguls. And I literally just admitted defeat, got
Yeah.
on my ass, and just slowly moved
Yep.
myself down the
Like a
mountain.
little sled.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna break a bone
Yeah,
if
exactly.
I try to. No one was around, so I'm like, okay, all right, I'm at defeat. I'm just like, this
Yeah,
is the last
taking the
time I'm
wrong turn to hit the
snowboarding. Yeah.
moguls. That's scary.
Yeah.
That happened to me last time I was in Breckenridge.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's take this other, and it's like
Yeah.
moguls.
Yeah,
Oh,
I did 2 of them. I'm like, okay, this is it. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. Yeah.
But you see those people that are just go,
Like, how are you doing that?
just years and years of practice,
Yeah.
man. Or people that go
granted,
backwards on their
right.
skis.
I was in like
It's
7th,
what are
8th
you
grade
doing?
at that time, so like, I don't know.
I thought it was sweet because when I was in grade school, we went on a couple of ski trips, and we do black diamonds at what's that? Sunburst.
Okay.
And I thought it was so sweet that I was going down the Black Diamonds. But then when we went to Colorado in the mountains, and I was doing just the blue squares, and it was terrifying.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even want to go on a Black Diamond.
Yeah.
You'd look up in the mountain, you're like, that's a Black Diamond? And they're like, yeah, no, like that's how they are. My buddy was from there, and I'm like, okay, there's no mountains in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
No.
We have hills.
Yeah. Just
What's
big
this?
hills.
The one on 76th Street. There's like a little mound. I think it was man-made. 76 and like Rawson.
I don't know where that is.
It's in like Franklin.
I don't know.
It's not. Is it a sled hill? Or
It's a ski hill. For
Oh,
sure.
really?
But it's just like
dirt
one.
pile.
Yeah, it's kind of like a dirt pile. Yeah.
Is there a quarry right next to it?
Could be. I don't know.
Dirt Pile Hill.
It's south.
Yes.
It's south of
Ring the bell
Southridge.
now.
You know where Southridge is on 76th
Southridge,
Street?
yeah.
It's just like 2 miles south of there. I don't know. That's,
Southridge, and then there was Northridge, right?
Yeah,
Is that the one that's gone?
that's in Brown Deer. I don't know.
I know one of them was abandoned.
I think it's no more.
Dawn of the Dead. You seen that? The
yeah.
newer one.
Only Shaun of the Dead.
Was shot in there.
I don't know if it was shot, but it was based there. It was supposed to be, like, if you see
Really?
in the opening sequence, not the
Okay.
credits, but the opening. Well, I think there's some credits in it. Is I think it was directed by Zack Snyder, the dude that did 300 and
Okay.
Watchmen and shit. But he's from Green Bay, I think, or something, or he's from around here.
Huh.
And he directed that movie, Dawn of the Dead, and the opening, the zombie thing where the shit hits the fan, right, and everyone's abandoning their vehicles and stuff. One of the opening credit sequences is Milwaukee County Transit buses.
What?
And you can see them, yeah.
Weird.
So I think it was supposed to be either Mayfair or Southridge or something. That's the one where the lady has a zombie baby, or like, no, a guy he like keeps his wife who turns into a zombie because she's pregnant, and then she like gives birth to this zombie baby, and he's like totally in denial that he's like, it's fine. Everyone's like, oh my. He's been hiding it the whole time.
Yeah.
Man, that's a crazy movie.
I've never seen.
And then they make a bus, and they have a bus with like they cut a whole line in the bus where they can put a chainsaw out and like just chainsaw the zombies. That's a crazy. But it's a remake of it's a Dawn of the Dead. It's like one of the classic
Yeah.
zombie movies that
Yeah.
like popularized zombie movies to this day.
So that was the remake of it.
Yeah, it was a
okay.
remake.
Got it.
Yeah, I didn't see the original one, but I've heard it's like that's the one that like jump started everything, or at least that put it in a popular zeitgeist of like zombie. That's another thing. Those zombie
Horror
movies. Those zombie movies are. I don't know what that says about today's society. Everyone's thinking about the zombie
Like how
Walking
many
Dead.
seasons of Walking Dead? Yeah.
Is that still going on?
You know what? It's got to be.
It has to be, right?
Because every year at Comic-Con, the badges still have Walking Dead as the background. It's like kind of a running joke at this point. I don't watch it. I don't know.
I watched the
Forgot
first
about
first few seasons.
I only got a few episodes in, and those were really good. But there's just so much of it to consume
Yeah.
at this point. It's like,
I love that meme of Carl. You know that one? Where he's just on his knees and he's talking. He's just crying. Carl. That's a good one.
So if it's just a name, does that count as a...
Well, the kid's name is Carl. I forget what his name is. He's like a cop. I think a lot of these are like based on that. You've seen 28 Days Later?
No.
Oh, dude. Okay, that one. If
We
you're
gotta
gonna,
have a movie
if you're
marathon.
ever gonna watch a zombie movie, watch that one.
Watch that one.
That's
All right.
Danny Boyle. If you know
Okay.
Danny Boyle, who did Sunshine, which is also amazing.
Oh, I like Sunshine. The
Yeah.
music for that is really good,
Yeah.
too.
And the music in Dawn of the Dead is great. Or sorry, in 28 Days Later is also amazing. But it's like a more realistic zombie movie. It's like a rage virus.
Yeah.
So the zombies aren't like these like they're like they run after things and they run after you. They don't. And brilliant actors, Cillian Murphy and that one dude who played Mad Eye Moody.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's in there. And yeah, that one that one is more of a realistic-ish. But I think that one and Walking Dead are like based on the same novel, where it's kind of like wake up in a hospital, not knowing what's going on,
And everything slowly unfolds.
everything slowly unfolds, and you try to find your family, and you try to figure out what's going on. Walking in an abandoned, yeah, that's it. There's a lot of good opportunity for. I don't know. But then they made a sequel 28 weeks later, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't think that
didn't
one
see
was
that.
good. As good. The guy also directed Slumdog Millionaire. If you ever saw that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good movie. When did 28 Days Later come out? That was relatively recent, right?
It's like
past 5 years.
I think more than 5 years. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Because I think I watched it.
Okay.
It's got to be like 20 in the teens. Yeah, somewhere 2010, 20 something.
Okay.
Yeah, that guy did a bunch of great. He's this movie called Shallow Grave too, where it's Ewan McGregor.
Sweet.
Was in it, and this guy, they're like interviewing for a new flatmate in their place, and they're interviewing this guy, and this guy's like seems really cool, and they really get on with this guy, and then he's like, oh, like, you mind if I try and like sleep in this room and see how I like it? And they're like, yeah, like this guy seems cool, like sure, but he dies overnight, and he has a suitcase full of cash, and like no one knows who this guy is, and they all like this craziness ensues where they like try, like all this cash starts dividing the flatmates, and then they try and figure out like, what should we do? Should we, like, no one knows he's here? Do they know? Who knows? Well, who know if anyone's here? Yeah, it's a trip. It's
Cool.
Psychologically like, oh man, like what would you do if you were in that situation?
Those are my favorite sorts of movies.
Yeah,
Divide it up.
divide it.
Right?
Yeah.
You guys are all about division.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's kind of a thing.
Division.
It's our word for the year.
Yeah.
Division.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the rest of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that word come from?
Division?
Yeah.
Like etymology?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't either. Is that a ratio? Everything has to be a ratio, right?
If you want to look at it that way, I guess, yeah.
One thing over another thing is a ratio, right? Dividing,
Yeah.
separating to two, right? Isn't that, I mean,
Subdividing, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Division.
you can still communicate like a whole, though, with that. So
yeah,
I don't really know.
they equal each other. They have a relationship.
My brain
one
is shorting out at this.
Divide. Yeah. That's interesting.
Live in Davide. I know that's not what it is.
What?
Never mind.
Viva the vida.
No, live in La Vida Loca. But
Ricky
just,
Martin?
Live
Yeah,
in
but I
Davide Loco.
Yeah.
Ricky Martin equals division.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's a really
It's
divisive.
really the crux of our song is
Yeah.
Ricky Martin.
Inspired by Ricky Martin.
Yeah.
He wrote it to
Should have given him credit.
his first music
No.
video.
I steal.
Mine.
Ricky.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I really enjoyed the single, and I hope you guys have any. Well, you were alluding to plans of some things in the future, but
Yeah.
nothing you can speak about.
Nothing yet.
Not quite yet. We have some demos that we've floated around, and then, like I said, came up with a bunch of new ideas this past week. Now it's just a matter of fleshing them out.
Yeah, like, is that a song then? Because it is such a crafted arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like how was it made just for to live in that space as what it is, or is there an arrangement you guys are planning to perform it as, or?
Her and I we've talked about once we have enough material playing out.
But not that song. Yeah, I suppose you only have one song. You're not going to play a show with one.
Grave
Yeah.
Talking and Division, yeah.
It could live live, but my main intention right now is just crafting a body of work that I think
Sure.
is succinct, and we can work out the details later. I mean, at a certain point, it's just finding the right people to plug in the pads and stuff once we've
Right.
figured out exactly what's necessary in a live version or not.
Yeah, I mean, that song would be a little more difficult using, because we're using cello and trumpets, but I mean, ultimately, you just get a laptop, you get a MIDI controller,
Right.
plug in the right sounds, using the Roland sampler I have for the drum machines, / live drummer, bass synth. There's no guitar on that one. And then, depending on how many people we want to play out live with, then backtracking the weird reverse stuff. And
Right.
That's not really my main focus with writing these songs. Though.
Yeah.
Especially not that one. That one was like very much content driven, and I think at least performing around here, people are more successful with something that's aiding the atmosphere, and I don't see that being the right place to have those sorts of conversations, or I mean, at least not the most effective.
What do you mean, like playing bars?
Yeah.
And like,
I mean, I think an event,
you do it like in a theater.
when the time comes,
That would be
I'd like to
awesome.
play out in a theater of some sort, where it could easily be a sit-down thing.
But I want a full body of work for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Put on a whole show.
Yeah, right
Right.
now we just have a phrase, and I want a whole conversation.
All right. So we'll see what the next year brings. Hopefully, hopefully the full conversation.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are we going back to Yoda?
No.
Oh.
Oh God. No.
So it always goes back to Yoda, man. Do or do no? What is it? Yeah. Do. There
Do
is
or
no
do
try.
not. There is no try.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Wise Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how much. Because
Well, if you're doing though, aren't you trying?
Okay, well, you can go down that hole.
I was watching Star Wars. I recently got Disney Plus, obviously, and I was watching the
Obviously.
Star Wars Rebellion cartoon, I think, that was on there. It takes place after Revenge of the Sith and before A New Hope, I believe. And there's these Jedis that are kind of in hiding because most of them just got wiped out by Sidious, Darth Sidious, and the clones. And this guy was a Jedi in hiding. He was training this kid, and the kid was like, "Wait, if you're doing something, aren't you trying to do something?" And he had no answer. And it's like, I never really understood that one either. Thanks, Yoda.
yeah, it's one of those like all those Zen riddles, right? It's just like
Right.
the only way to do is to not do,
Right.
or like the only way to hold on is to let go,
Right.
You know, stuff like that.
Right.
Where it's like, yeah, I think it. I like those things because it. I think a lot of people don't really fully grasp the idea of the paradoxical nature of reality, and that's just kind of a reminder of like you don't know, you can't even explain it. The best way you can explain it is to not even explain it, and that's
Right.
the best. It's not yes or no.
But saying
It's
that gets
both
you
and neither.
nowhere.
I think the whole do or do not, there's no try. It's just do something.
Right, exactly.
Don't hesitate. Think about it. Trust your instincts, like we were talking about before, and just like with writing music.
Yeah,
Just go for it.
it's in the mindset. Like
Yeah.
when sometimes you say, "Well, I'll try and make it."
Yeah. Well,
When you say you try and make it, that
you
means
probably you're not
Interested
coming.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm interested.
Oh, I know I can't go, but I'll hit interested anyways. You know. And
Yeah.
then give people hope, and then
It's a good
Hopes
gesture,
and-
though.
hope and dreams get crushed when they don't
Sometimes
show
seeing
up.
something as interested, though, helps perpetuate it.
yeah,
I do click on the
feeds
interested where I'm
algorithms
like,
a little bit.
I'm not sure yet, and it will stay in my event feed.
Right.
Yeah.
That's important.
Where I'm like, oh, I do have the night off, and I was interested in. Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
will go to this.
And sometimes when I click interested on things, people will like that, and then
Right,
Right.
that shit's
and then
weird.
and then it's like, oh,
What are you doing liking that? What does your feed
I
look
think
like?
I think they
That's
want
a
to.
slight like, hey, you want to hang out and go to
yeah,
this
I think that's what
event?
it is. Yeah, like, hey,
Well,
can I come?
yeah,
Well,
yeah. We're friends,
Sometimes.
right? On Facebook or in real life? Are we? What are? I like
Yeah,
this.
the Facebook
Yeah.
Facebook's such a strange place.
Yeah,
I'm sure you got in this lot, but like, oh hey, yeah, how's it going? I'm friends with you on Facebook.
yeah.
It's like,
I've seen you
Cool.
in my people you may know.
Right.
hmm,
Do you want to add as a friend?
No.
Like, no.
Facebook is a
54 mutual friends, including Amanda Huff.
Wow.
Who are you?
yeah. I mean, it's just it's a strange digital world that's not real. You
Yeah.
know? And I think about that a lot. Be like, well, this isn't really real. Most of the people, I go back and forth between just accepting them and then I just immediately invite them to my music page.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right.
So it's like,
Right. I mean,
I know what you're here for.
yeah, there are good tools in Facebook to.
And sometimes I meet those people in real person.
Right.
I'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
Right.
oh, okay. Like now I understand.
Especially communicating like in our field with music and whatnot, and making people aware that we exist or what we're up to, and you guys from there take it or leave it.
I just
think
want
that's
good memes.
What's
Yeah,
that?
right.
That too.
Good
Sometimes,
memes and
yeah.
good
See, I go to
content.
Instagram for I live in the Instagram world more than the Facebook. Facebook, I'm there for just to exist. Whereas
Events
or like hear stuff, or when we need to talk about releasing Division or like and make people aware of it.
Yeah,
I
Instagram
understand the
is-
importance of that because there's a lot of your platform where I'm communicating to thousands of people, and she is as well, and you with your own stuff. But yeah, the meme life is
Dude, I
definitely
fucking love it.
in Instagram world for me.
Or like good articles. I
Yeah.
don't know. I usually just
Yeah.
screen people like, do you seem like you're trash? Are you posting things that are like trash?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you have like shitty ideals or something? And then are you funny? If I don't know the person, or do they have some job occupation that might help me?
Yeah, no, I mean it's networking. I mean that's ultimately why people add each other. It's just like any other social network.
Also,
It's
do you
just-
have a face picture? I don't fucking trust
Oh
people
yeah,
that don't
yeah.
have
That
that.
don't have face
Or they
pictures.
have one that's like a pixel of a corner of their face. It's, who talk? No.
Or an American
just, like,
flag.
Yeah,
50
why would
cent
I
American
add
flag
you?
people?
Yeah.
I don't know who you
Or
are. What
random
the fuck
sports
that is.
players.
Yeah,
There's
sports
their-
players.
Yeah.
If you can't use Facebook in that degree and you're not clearly doing it like ironically,
Right.
what benefit do I have? You can only have 5,000 friends on there. You know?
Right. Yeah, only 5,000.
But you can have unlimited fans.
Yeah, the fans. Yeah, and that's why the like I spend way more time on the page,
Yeah.
the like
I don't
Cullah
like
page as
any of
opposed to
it.
my personal. The Instagram is interesting. I just downloaded TikTok.
I actually
I've
really
not.
enjoyed your video
Which-
clips.
Yeah.
Like someone told me not to.
Bring
like,
back Vine.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's basically Vine 2.0.
I watched that several times actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Are there
good.
TikTok
Enjoyment.
magicians?
Yeah.
There's so many, dude. Dude, TikTok. There's
So what exactly is TikTok?
so
I'm
it's
a little like out of loop on that.
yeah. At first, I looked at it and actually, you know, John Junior.
Yeah. Griffin.
He's like, you got to get on TikTok. And people, he's not the first person to tell me
Yeah.
that. So I'm
I
like,
saw
all
him
right.
do a loop thing.
Yeah, he got me on, and he put me on in his thing, and I was like, okay, I'll do this now. I'll try it. And it seemed the just I first downloaded it, and I'm like, I felt like an old man. I was like, what do we do? What's going on here?
Are you
And
a whiz
and he's
now?
like, no, I'm not a whiz, but I'm starting to get it.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's Vine 2.0 plus karaoke.
Okay.
There's so much karaoke. But
Yeah.
a lot of times, like these,
That's usually what I see.
yeah, these memes will like become like the songs become the memes and the memes become the songs and like sections of songs. So like you can record,
Right.
you can also record the audio and like split the audio off from the TikToks and make your own TikTok from just the audio of that. So you can like if you have some. There's one I just saw of a guy like it was like. I'm just a fat guy looking in a mirror, or something like this country thing where he was this like really this overweight guy, and I just saw like tons of people making their own versions of this, and then I finally
Like
realized
they take his video and make
they took
their
his
own?
audio.
Oh, the audio.
They took the
Okay.
audio of him. So
Right.
then I found so I only realized that like I clicked on the original audio source and then
Right.
opened up his, and it was just
It's really changing the idea of like sourcing and credit
Yeah.
and what's sampling or what's,
It's crazy.
collaboration and whatnot.
And sections of songs are becoming huge. Like just a little section of a song
Right.
become this huge thing where all of a sudden millions of people are now sharing just this
You can probably
their
make a
versions
bunch of
of
money off of that just
Yeah.
for plays.
So it's interesting. And I don't know. It seems a little more involved. Like you have to have these multi-level. Sometimes like John has all these different apps that he does where he'll put all these things together and make
Right.
these special effects and
Right.
edit and cut these things apart and put them back together and things. But some of the funniest ones are just pretty simple, or like more Vine-like.
Right.
where you can take the video in chunks, and so you just take little chunks of here and here and here and here, like that one that you're talking about, where it was just me, like I was just walking around this room in that room, and just doing something stupid, but
it was funny. I like
and that's like, and the Vine was like a Vine, like those things. I was just talking to someone about have you ever seen the Dying Vine? Where it's like the guy plays a kid and the mother and the father, and they all are telling the kid that he's like adopted. The mom and the son are like talking shit to the mom, or sorry, the dad and the son are starting to talk shit about the mom.
Is it the one guy with the blonde hair?
Yeah, your moves are weak. Your moves are weak, babe. It's like, you're getting a divorce.
Or like
your moves
takes
are
the
weak.
hat off.
Yeah, he just takes the head off, and all of a sudden he does it from a different angle, and all of a sudden he's the mom, and then he's the kid, and then the guy tells like, then he's like, no, we're getting a divorce to the mom, and the mom's like, what? And he goes, yeah, I'm gay now. I'm gay with Brad. Yeah, I like dick now. And the guy's like, what? And they're what? And then the kid's like, what? And then they tell the kid he's adopted.
This is all the same person.
It's all the same person doing all different things,
Cut
and
it
and you can tell it's all like improv.
Yeah.
So then they tell the kid he's adopted, and then they tell him he's dying, and he's like, what? And it's just a mind fuck, and it's so bizarre. But TikTok seems interesting. Instagram is still, I use that probably the most. I love the stories. I like seeing what people are up to. And
I'm a big story dude, for sure. Yeah. That's the thing I think I do the most.
Just a lot for me. I don't know.
What's that?
there's only so many.
Story?
There's so many things to do, but it's
Just
like
everything.
people watch it, and like people watch it, and
That's so wild.
when you have
I'll take note of like if you do more at once too. Like I go from, if I post once in a while, I get like 50 to 60. If I'm consistently doing my thing, like just whatever, I'm like up to like 200.
right, exactly. It's like 200 people are always watching.
It shows up farther down their feed. If you're more consistent with it, I think that's the algorithm.
That's what's crazy, because it's probably always changing.
Right.
They're always like changing the algorithm. They're always changing how it's working, how it's going to be displayed to people.
Yeah.
And I think I read something that they're getting rid of likes on Instagram.
Really?
I mean, you can see it on your end, but other people can't see it.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty great.
I think.
I mean, they've already rolled it out in other places.
Yeah, because it seems
so
like
you're not so influenced by who's liking what.
Yeah.
Also,
it
they
gets
like
rid
it.
of
I'll like it too, because I know that a lot of people think that way.
inflation.
Yeah.
They're trying to up the like actual engagement, like commenting and stuff. Do you remember when Facebook was all commenting on walls and stuff? People wouldn't even like shit. I like go back to like
wall
my
posts,
Facebook memories and be like, who was I talking to? Why were we talking like this? Just like snippets of conversations.
Yeah, the walls are crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how TikTok's going to evolve, or if that's going to be. It already seems to be huge, especially with like the younger generation. It's just
Isn't
huge.
that
Like,
how Old Town Road blew up?
yeah, TikTok.
Younger generation is gonna be the ones that define how.
Yeah, they decide.
Yeah.
Know.
Stuff goes.
Yeah, I saw one of the first things I saw on TikTok was like, a 40-year-old. She would. That's what the whole idea was, like 40-year-old trying to figure out TikTok. But I see like
Is
Terry
it that
Crews.
hard to figure
Terry,
out, or
no,
is it? Okay.
like Terry Crews is already doing all this crazy shit on TikTok, and
but
he's got probably got a
amazing.
team, right, that does it. And it's like Will Smith has something.
Yeah.
They probably tell him exactly what to do. And
Will Smith has a son and a daughter who can just be like, yo.
yeah.
Also, I'm sure he's like on top of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a team that's giving him the gist of everything.
All right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Social media thing it's a pretty useful. Like, I mean, I've gotten so many gigs through Instagram.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I'm using this now. Like this.
I just got a message last night that somebody wants to buy music from me to speak poetry over. I'm like,
There you go.
Yeah, I'll get at you this week.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
gonna go through my demo bank and find one that you want. I was like, that was on Instagram, just direct message.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
All right, we just passed the 2-hour mark. You can believe it.
Rock and
I
roll.
believe it. Well, thanks for coming on, guys.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank you for
Yeah.
having
having
us.
us. Yeah,
I appreciate it.
cool. Yeah,
Good conversations.
very good.
Really happy to hear the single when it came out. I was excited when you guys announced it, and then when I heard it, I was just like, oh shit.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah,
I've definitely gotten
it caught me off guard. You know, when it because it's such that
sonically or
Yeah.
Just, okay.
Yeah, I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
that was inspiring.
Sweet.
Put a lot of care into it.
Yeah.
I could tell.
Yeah.
It was very intentional.
Yeah. Everything was definitely down to the T, to the modulation wheels and the synthesizers, to the articulating the lyrics in the Isla booth. You did your final take when you were sick too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. It sounds like it's like edited to be choppy, and it was just my voice sick.
Yeah.
There you
And
go.
the mucus catching the end of each like syllable.
Yeah. It worked.
Yeah.
Thank God for the mucus.
Thank God for the mucus.
That's
Can
your
that
neck.
be my ending note? Thank God for the mucus.
Thank God for the mucus. It plays a very important role in all of our lives.
It sure does. Every morning.
Yeah, dude. All right. Well, anyone is listening, there is a link to listen to the single in the description of whatever this is, however you're listening to this, or if it's on YouTube, it's in there. So take a listen. You won't regret it. All right. William, Amanda, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See if this works.